Online games, transform into a Loli NPC villain. Lao Tzu, are these, women's clothes? Lin Chen muttered, rubbing his temples as his head throbbed from a lingering hangover. To make matters worse, a pink lace ribbon was tied around his slender wrist, and when he ran his fingers through his silky hair, it felt unnervingly smooth, though shockingly white. Must have been that prankster roommate of mine, Lin Chen groaned. Took advantage of me being drunk and dressed me up like this. To confirm his suspicions, he patted his chest. Flat. One flat plane of nothingness. He reached up, trying to yank off what he assumed was a wig, but the painful tug jerked him awake like a splash of cold water. Something was very, very wrong. This wasn't his college dorm. The room around him was about 10 square meters, with a king-sized bed draped in soft pink sheets. Stuffed animals littered the bed, and the lace-trimmed bed curtain shimmered with expensive elegance. Everything about the room radiated, cutesy princess. Did that idiot actually bring me to some frilly nightmare of a place too? Lin Chen muttered. But when the words left his mouth, the voice that came out wasn't his. It was high-pitched. Sweet. A Loli's voice. Damn it, Lin Chen cursed, startled at how even profanity sounded, cute and improper. Heart racing, he stumbled to the dresser near the bed, desperate to confirm what was happening. In the bright mirror, wide, innocent eyes framed by silky, white twintails stared back at him. Oh no. The Loli in the mirror raised a delicate hand, mimicking Lin Chen's movements exactly. The pink dress with an oversized bow, lace ribbon on the wrist, an impossibly cute outfit made it clear, there was no mistaking it. He was the Loli. Why the hell did I cross over? Lin Chen groaned, pressing his soft, unfamiliar face. The reflection didn't lie. He wasn't dreaming, and his situation was far from normal. Then, as if the universe wanted to make things worse, a robotic voice echoed in his mind. The new expansion will launch in 10 seconds. Please prepare, players. Expansion? What expansion? Lin Chen froze, panic rising. The girl in the mirror, his game character. It hit him like a truck. This was the avatar he'd painstakingly customized just the night before, spending over 4 hours tweaking every detail. Countdown, 9. Wait. I'm stuck in the game. His heart sank. Countdown, 8. This was the new release, the latest Vermork hit, Ragnarok. After a grueling 7-day grind, Lin Chen had finally secured the coveted beta activation card. But did he really plug the game helmet in while drunk last night? Countdown, 7. Crap. I need to log out. Lin Chen fumbled for a menu or skill panel, but there was nothing. No UI. Voice command. Maybe, he tried saying aloud, open properties. A simple status window appeared. Name, Lin Chen. Class, Villain NPC. Strength, 1. Stamina, 1. Intelligence, 5. Dexterity, 1. What? What kind of garbage stats are these? Lin Chen gawked. But the worst part was the label, Villain NPC. He wasn't just stuck in the game. He was a villain, a low-level villain at that. Countdown, 0. A burst of blinding white light flooded the room, forcing Lin Chen to close his eyes. When the light faded, he found himself standing outdoors, surrounded by lush greenery. Where the heck? Lin Chen muttered, staring up at grass taller than he was. At only 1.2 meters tall, his new lowly form wasn't exactly impressive. In the distance, the earth trembled. A golden dragon soared into the sky, with a swordsman standing on its head, brandishing a massive blade. That's a level 180 swordsman ultimate, Lin Chen whispered, recognizing the scene from the game's strategy guide. But something felt off. This wasn't just flashy gameplay. It was part of the expansion event. Sure enough, a deep, narrative voice boomed across the forest. In Odin's village, heroes gather to vanquish the great demon king Lin Chen. Lin Chen's jaw dropped. Wait, that's me. His heart raced as the truth sank in. Somehow, he wasn't just an NPC villain, he was the final boss. The very character the entire expansion revolved around. With his pathetic stats, there was no way he'd survive even one hit from a high-level player. This is a joke, right? Lin Chen muttered, flipping the properties panel open again. That dreaded label, Villain NPC, still mocked him from the top. Meanwhile, the expansion's narration continued. The heroes must defeat the great demon king Lin Chen and secure the divine fruit to claim victory. Lin Chen blinked. Divine fruit? His gaze shifted to a ripe tomato-like fruit beside him. Before he could think twice, he picked it up and took a bite. Lin Chen ate the divine fruit. The same robotic voice chimed again, devoid of emotion. Wait, what did I just eat? Lin Chen panicked. But before he could inspect the fruit any further, that same blinding white light consumed him once more. When his vision returned, he found himself back in the frilly pink bedroom. Open properties. Lin Chen barked. The familiar panel appeared. Name, Lin Chen. Class, Villain NPC. Strength, 1. Stamina, 1. Intelligence, 5. Dexterity, 1. Nothing changed. Was that fruit fake? Frustrated, he scrolled further down the panel, only to spot a new section labeled Advanced Permissions. Advanced Permissions. Absolute Protection, passive reflects 10,000x damage received from players. Kill players to gain attributes and skills. Assign tasks, dungeons, and rewards to players. Access GM store and create items. Lin Chen's eyes widened in disbelief. So, I'm basically a walking GM. Just as he tried to process this new reality, the robotic voice interrupted again. Players have entered the world. NPCs, prepare yourselves. Lin Chen slumped against the bed, his head spinning. Not only was he stuck as a twin-tailed Loli, but he was also the villain everyone wanted to kill. This game is a mess, Lin Chen groaned, biting another tomato. Because if things were going to be this absurd, he might as well enjoy the chaos. This time there was no white light. Everything works fine. Even Lin Chen didn't feel anything special. She stood up and straightened her clothes, as well as her white ponytail. This shape is the same as Lin Chen's pinched face in the game. A single bedroom is so luxurious and extravagant, and the moment he opened the door, Lin Chen had actually made psychological achievements. It is possible that this Lin Chen Great Demon King is a person of noble status. But he didn't expect that as soon as Lin Chen opened the door, he saw a street full of people. God is. Lin Chen took a deep breath. It turned out that the people who lived in the princess's room were not necessarily princesses, they might just be ordinary people. On the top of her head, it is not Lin Chen's Great Demon King now, but the girl Lin Chen. Although the streets are full of people. But it's all NPCs who come out to make trouble, and not a single player. The ant who lived next door grabbed Lin Chen. What's the situation? What about the players? I have prepared a lot of pancakes and are waiting to be sold. Lin Chen looked at the surrounding buildings and smiled dumbly. The players are all in the novice village now, how can they appear in the town so quickly? That makes sense, the ant nodded. Little girl, don't steal business with me. I'm going to have to do a little more stockpiling so I can sell some gold. While speaking, Lin Chen tiptoed and glanced into the basket of his aunt, and a few pieces of dusty pancakes with crooked melons and cracked dates were placed in the basket at random. Just looking like he has no appetite, he also sells gold coins, profiteers, and it is estimated that no one wants a copper plate. The currency units in the game Ragnarok are copper, silver, and gold. 10 copper coins equals 1 silver coin, and so on. Lin Chen said that he didn't want to be a simple cake seller, so he had better walk around first to see what the town he lived in was like, right? Ragnarok Game Planning Company. President Yang Xiaowei knocked on the table lightly. So there is a bug in our game? Yes, I just found out when I was looking up the footage. Standing across from the man was Wang Yu, a programmer in a plaid shirt. But the game is run automatically by the brain, and if you find a bug, you should fix it yourself. Yang Xiaowei is usually in charge of the company's operations, and to be honest, he really doesn't know anything about technical things. The current technical director can solve this problem perfectly, but now, the intelligent brain has begun to operate, and it is impossible to stop. Wang Yu looked a little lonely. I hope, but if Xi brain doesn't fix this problem, 3 days later, I will take the initiative to fix this bug. The streets are crowded, but all of them are NPCs. Lin Chen greeted them with a smile and chatted, and in the continuous friendly exchanges, Lin Chen found that all the NPCs here were looking forward to the player's arrival quickly. Because they can't hold back the power of the desolation in their hearts, they plan to make all kinds of pits. Warm welcome to players. The only blacksmith shop in the town, which originally only needed a copper plate to repair weapons, has now been changed to 10 silver coins. The ant who sells cakes next door originally only needed 10 copper plates for a cake, but now it has become a gold coin. You're all bandits, aren't you? The player has already entered the game, please prepare the NPCs, and are scanning for bug. Bugs have been found. Make every effort to clear the middle. Lin Chen was surprised to find that after hearing this prompt, her whole person began to flutter, as if she might disappear anytime and anywhere. However, after a few flickering moments, her figure returned to normal again. It can't be cleared, and the reason for the investigation is. Shouldn't I be the bug to be cleared? Do I look like a bug? The reason is unknown. Generating solution. Ding dong, congratulations to Lin Chen for binding his brain. Lin Chen. Then she noticed that the NPCs of the entire street suddenly froze. That's right, it's Katon. That's the lag that only happens in computer games, and now it's the 22nd century's intelligent brain era. There will even be stuttering. Then she heard this, and the expressions of the other NPCs were sluggish, and they quickly returned to normal, but they were still busy with their own affairs, and they did not stop their hand movements, listening to the system announcement. So that ding-dong just now. Is it only Lin Chen who can hear it? Ding-dong, Benji Brain kindly reminds you that if you can't get the first-level management permissions, you will be cleared by programmer Wang Yu in 3 days. The sound of the brain prompt came from the ear again. Then why are you binding me? Lin Chen asked curiously, but did not hear any answer. Ding dong, please go to Purim's prison to release the Great Demon King and change the background of the game. Mission time limit, 3 days. Mission failed, will be erased. Mission success, fix bugs and avoid the consequences of being obliterated. This is the mission. It's too overbearing. However, Lin Chen didn't want to be wiped out by himself. Purim's prison. She opened the map and found that the prison was actually near the town. So she thought before that the people in the town were all bandits. There are 2 ways to go to jail. One is to walk in openly. Lin Chen tried, but the doorkeeper didn't let her in at all, and let her leave loudly. The person still has a gun in his hand, so it is estimated that if she is given it casually, she will kneel directly. Although she is an NPC and holds the so-called supreme authority, she has not obtained a layer of management authority, and in terms of her weak attribute, she is not stronger than the ant who sells cakes next door. The second option is to go to jail. Let the enforcers catch it. So Lin Chen rushed into the ant's house next door selling cakes, frantically took away 10 flatbreads, and then rushed out. The great god smiled with a smile on his face. Lin Chen, don't run so fast, slow down, come back next time. You're poisonous, aren't you? Lin Chen rushed into the blacksmith shop's bearded grandfather's house again, and took a dagger studded with gems, which was still a blue piece of equipment. The equipment in the game is divided into white, green, blue, purple, gold, and red. 6 levels. Beyond the red is the legendary gear with a red and gold glow. But the explosion rate of Ragnarok is very touching. The blue equipment can be said to be a small boutique in the early stage. She took it away in a grand manner, originally thought that Grandpa Beard would report the case, but she didn't expect that Grandpa Beard smiled toothlessly. Lin Chen, slow down, don't fall, the dagger Grandpa will give it to you. Lin Chen was a little desperate. She robbed and stole many shops in a big way, but all the NPCs were very enthusiastic about her, and they were afraid that she would fall. The owner of the clothing store even thought that she had taken less, and gave her 2 more. Throwing all the messy groceries into the room, Lin Chen sat at the door with a melancholy expression. It's so depressing, it's just a matter of turning into a Loli NPC. It's obviously a villain NPC. It's actually the group pet of this town. In her melancholy, she saw the enforcer walk by with a group of soldiers. The enforcer didn't like anyone, scolded the cake seller next door, criticized the blacksmith shop owner, and accused the clothing store owner of the shop of being unclean and... Lin Chen squinted his eyes and jumped behind the enforcer. Odin the enforcer is a fat man who usually acts as a prestige, with a level of 40. Lin Chen was just a scum of 1 grade. She stood behind the fat man, waving her little hands and mocking, and Odin saw it, but he didn't blame her. It seems that this is not enough. 1,000-year, kill. With Odin's miserable screams, Lin Chen finally got his wish and went to prison. Ness. Under the unanimous plea of the town's residents, Lin Chen's original 15-day detention period became 3 days. But that's enough. If she can't complete the task in 3 days, she will go directly to the west. The Reims Empire is a place where magic and vindictiveness coexist. The technology is relatively backward, and this cell is also backward, and the gap in the middle of each iron fence is so big, Lin Chen can wear it around at will. But she's a little Lori with a double ponytail, and the prison warden doesn't bother to care about her. On the contrary, every morning, noon and evening, she was specially called out during dinner to enjoy the food together. Sure enough, the double ponytail is justice. After going back and forth, several people were also familiar with each other, and Lin Chen asked about the great demon king. The warden looked confused. We are all imprisoned here by some petty thieves, where is there a big demon king? Why don't I know? Either the warden lied. Either the great demon king made a disguise. Since it is the great demon king, the system will definitely find a special reason to keep the other party in prison. Lin Chen simply changed his method and asked, then who is the one who has been sentenced the longest in our prison? Goddess Laura. Laura is a very beautiful girl, and everyone in the town loves her. Of course, this is the information that Lin Chen found in the system query. What reason? Lin Chen was a little puzzled. Odin suspects that she killed her husband, but there has been no reason, and I don't believe it. The warden said with a depressed face. I want to meet her. Lin Chen hurriedly said. Also, she hasn't talked much since she came, little girl, it's better for you to go and talk to her. The prison warden stood up and led Lin Chen to open Laura's cell door. The door of the goddess's cell was specially made and inlaid with heavy iron sheets. The beautiful woman sat in front of the dresser with her back to Lin Chen, although she didn't see the other party's face, just by her back, Lin Chen knew that this was a beautiful woman. The warden went out, and he didn't think the 2 little girls together would be very lethal anyway. Lin Chen didn't know how to speak, so he simply got straight to the point. Your Majesty the Demon King, you go out. Laura turned her head and stared at Lin Chen with a pair of sad eyes. Which relationship has ever made you unforgettable? Network suppression cloud route? Is this slightly esoteric question appropriate to ask a child? Lin Chen asked rhetorically, then which relationship makes you unforgettable? I was young and ignorant, I thought he loved me, and then he left. Tears welled up in Laura's eyes. This guy isn't the Great Demon King, is he? What does this have to do with the Great Demon King? What about you, said Laura, looking at Lin Chen. Lin Chen pondered for a moment, and then said, I thought she was a woman, but she. Laura, hiss. The goddess looked at Lin Chen's eyes dangerously. Lin Chen came back to her senses after realizing it. She crossed into a Loli NPC in the game, and she was a woman herself. I can't talk anymore this day. Seeing Laura's eyes becoming more and more strange, Lin Chen kept emphasizing that he must pay attention to gender. She coughed, it's just chatting, don't be angry. So soon there was a conversation like this. Laura, what's the most regrettable thing you've done after a hangover? Lin Chen trembled, his eyes widened in disbelief. Brother. This is the answer that pays the most attention to gender. If Lin Chen puts aside the burden of gender, the most correct answer is, sister-in-law. Ding dong, Laura's rage is increased by 10. Hearing this hint, Lin Chen knew that this woman was 100% the legendary Great Demon King, and she would only appear when she was full of anger. Laura, when I first met my mother-in-law, what was the most important thing to show? Lin Chen, big fat boy. Ding dong, Laura's rage plus 10. Lin Chen looked puzzled, I'm not wrong when I think about it. Ding dong, Laura plus 5. Ding dong, Laura's opinion of you is minus 100. Laura took a deep breath. When my girlfriend comes to her boyfriend's house, what do most men want their girlfriends to bring? Lin Chen frowned, his face groaning. Laura looked at Lin Chen curiously, the stars in her eyes sparkling, as if she wanted to know the answer to this question. Girlfriend? Lin Chen tried to ask. That's what she thinks about the most. Ding dong, Laura's rage is increased by 15. Add it, what kind of exclamation mark? Laura took a deep breath and continued to ask, what is the most domineering thing for a man to a woman, answer it well. Lin Chen really replied seriously this time, I'll support you. Laura's anger didn't rise this time, and she was a little happy, you finally said a human word. But that's not what I want to say the most, as far as I know, it should be. It's useless to scream and cut your throat. Lin Chen said what he wanted to say most in his heart. Laura. Lin Chen. Laura reacted in hindsight, and her body suddenly expanded. It's like a giant balloon. Ding dong, Laura's anger is full, and she has become the Great Demon King. The ground shook, cracks appeared in the walls like cobwebs, and large chunks of stone fell from the ceiling and hit the ground. The Great Demon King has been awakened, a new expansion has been opened, and the game is being maintained online, so please prepare for all major players. A full server prompt that made everyone confused. Online maintenance is not a new word in the 22nd century, and most of the games produced by the brain are maintained online. It does not affect the normal operation of the game in any way. But it's strange that the expansion has just been updated, and the majority of players haven't even finished the first task, and the expansion has been updated? What about teasing me? The place where Lin Chen was turned into white light, the Great Demon King swept through the center of the storm, and the beautiful goddess Laura was gone, but what she saw was a black dragon. The dragon roared in the sky, flapping its wings in rage, and everything gradually turned into nothingness, including the entire Purim's prison. Ding dong, detected that this place has crashed, transfer, modify the data. A white light flashed in front of Lin Chen's eyes, and she couldn't see anything, and in the next second, she returned to her room. The Magic Dragon expansion is open, and the detailed plot can be obtained through the game forum. Happy playing. Such an ambiguous prompt, in less than a few minutes, is over. Not to mention that the players are inexplicable, even the game's administrators are inexplicable. Yang Xiaowei was losing his temper in the office at this time, and yelled at the secretary, "What are you doing in a daze? Call that little brother's bastard to my office, didn't she say that she was quite awesome?" Why can't you do it? And Lin Chen's side also heard a hint from Ji Brain. Ding dong, because the host completes the task ahead of schedule, get a mysterious reward. A large red gift bag appeared in front of Lin Chen. It's cute. Ness. She reached out and opened it. When he first saw the contents of the gift bag, Lin Chen's face became ugly. But when he glanced at the attributes of that thing, he smiled again. Attributes: increases the attributes of the whole body by 10%, and increases fire resistance by 50%. Although now Lin Chen's strength, physical strength, agility, and the like are all a little. But this percentage of improving the attributes of the whole body must be getting better and better in the later stage. But this thing, Lin Chen didn't want to wear it even if he was killed. Description: Blue Dead Reservoir Water. It also comes with a pair of white silk. Yo Uncle You. Do you think Lao Tzu will thank you? Gone. Due to the change in the expansion, Lin Chen's profession has also changed from a villain NPC to an NPC. In addition to the supreme authority, the authority also gets a layer of management permission. First level management permission: the host is bound to the brain and becomes a part of the brain, and will not be removed as a bug by the programmer. You can publish server-wide events. If there is a layer of management permissions, then there should be a layer 2 management permissions, and this permission can even publish activities on the whole server. It's awesome. With a good mood, Lin Chen opened the door again, and the street was still deserted. Where are the players at this time? Why haven't you come out of the novice village yet? It's too slow, isn't it? Black Dragon Attack event starts, please prepare players. Due to the early opening of the Black Dragon expansion, the Black Dragon Cub cleans the vast number of novice villages, please go and get rid of them. When Aunt Wong next door saw such a prompt, she grabbed the flatbread in the store with an ecstatic face. I'm going to sign up. What to sign up for? Lin Chen hadn't come back to his senses yet. Of course, it's playing the Black Dragon. Aunt Wong said excitedly, you can get a rich reward. Lin Chen felt his head hurt when he thought of Aunt Wong, who had the name of the Black Dragon, holding a basket and smashing the player to death with a flatbread. Ding dong, is the host involved in the Black Dragon attack? NPCs have basically been prompted with this. Those who are willing to participate click to agree, and the person disappears. Lin Chen was naturally willing to participate, because one of the supreme privileges was to kill players to obtain attributes and skills. Although he has no problem with his identity now, he also has a lot of permissions, but his attributes are too rubbish. It's not a problem to hit players, it's a problem to fight NPCs. Ding dong, because it was the host who released the Great Demon King, which caused the Great Demon King's anger to be full, so the Great Demon King regarded you as a mortal enemy. Yes, it is urgent to improve one's own attributes. The attribute value of the Big Demon King is incredible, and the game is turned upside down, and even forced the game to update, which is not something to mess with. Lin Chen chose to agree. A flower appeared in front of me in a field. He looks like an innocent little girl. Double ponytail. Lace skirt. On his head were 2 glittering words, Black Dragon. But there are 3 transparent small words behind the name, hidden. So Lin Chen hid it without saying a word. He glanced at his attributes. Name, Lin Chen. Profession, Black Dragon. Strength, 501, Black Dragon bonus 500. Stamina, 501, Black Dragon bonus 500. Intelligence, 505, Black Dragon bonus 500. Dexterity, 501, Black Dragon bonus 500. Skills. Absolute Protection, passive when damaged by a player, it will reflect 10,000 times the opponent's damage. Black Dragon buff, base health regeneration is increased by 100%, and base mana regeneration is increased by 100%. Who the hell can withstand this attribute? Lin Chen was a little suspicious. Ji Brain came up with such a special activity, and he deliberately tricked the player. Or maybe it's a way to fill in the bugs. Not far away is a large group of players scrambling to stab the pheasant to death with small wooden swords. The game has just been launched for less than half an hour. Players who couldn't find the task, wearing white pants and white suspenders issued by the novice, launched an attack on the group of innocent pheasants outside the novice village. Look, there's an NPC there. Someone found Lin Chen. Lin Chen looked at them expressionlessly. Quickly found the yellow exclamation mark in the system panel and hung it on the door of his head. The first to rush was a big man with a broken wooden stick in his hand. However, he didn't have time to stop his feet and hit Lin Chen headfirst. Player, I love a piece of firewood to attack you. A big -1 appeared on Lin Chen's head. This is estimated to be a little bit of blood that cannot be broken and forcibly buckled. The player's head has a big red letter, -10,000. Besides, now that Lin Chen is wearing the buff of the Black Dragon, the amount of blood that recovers is called fast. Almost at the same time as the word -1 appeared, a +1 quickly floated on Lin Chen's head. There was a bang, and a vacuum immediately appeared around Lin Chen. The players who had just gathered around quickly dispersed to the side. MD. This NPC is too evil. I love a piece of firewood to hit the street without accident, but because it is a novice village, it can be resurrected on the spot and at no cost. But this thing still drops out the novice equipment given by the system. Lin Chen picked it up and put it in his pocket, blatantly. I love a piece of firewood. He saw his novice weapon enter Lin Chen's pocket, and wanted to hit someone, but he saw the red exclamation mark on Lin Chen's head. There are tasks. Oh my god. Ragnarok is a broken game that not only has a very low explosion rate, but also said that the humanized NPCs are cunning and like something, and it is particularly difficult to get tasks out of their hands. Otherwise, there wouldn't be so many people who came out to kill pheasants. And this little Loli NPC actually has a task on it. The moment I opened the task, my face darkened. NPC, playing money. Pays the target NPC a gold coin, which can be exchanged for 10 experience points. Nima. Can you still have a face? A gold coin. 1 gold coin is equivalent to $100 in the real world. 100 yuan to buy 10 experience points. I'm afraid I have a hole in my head. Lin Chen's expression was faint, looking at the I love a piece of firewood in front of him, because this goods were in the way, the other players couldn't squeeze in, there's no money to get out. I love a piece of firewood. MMP. In the eyes of ordinary players, Lin Chen is indeed a picked goods. However, in the eyes of the large guild leader, Lin Chen was simply a sweetheart. The news of the discovery of a mysterious NPC outside the 9257 novice village was immediately posted on the forum, and the post was pushed to the top in less than 3 minutes. First floor, what are you kidding? Second floor, anyway, Lao Tzu doesn't charge money when he kills him, this kind of stupid NPC, how far is it for Lao Tzu to roll? Third floor, suddenly I feel very fragrant. Fourth floor, can this quest be completed in a loop? If it can be looped, it is foreseeable that a large number of wealthy guild elite teams will be the first to reach level 10 and change classes, seriously disrupting the balance of the game. Fifth floor, agree with the statement upstairs and strongly request the removal of this NPC. Sixth floor, 1 gold coin is equal to 10 experience points, which is equivalent to 100 yuan to buy 10 experience points, and it takes 5,000 experience points to upgrade from level 1 to level 10, so it takes 50,000 yuan to be able to change jobs. What elite guild will burn money like this? Seventh floor, is it just a little bit? Eighth floor, Nima, there are really many local tyrants in this world. Ninth floor, 50,000 yuan to buy an account that can be transferred. It takes less than an hour to open the service, it's cost-effective, that's the resources to eat the whole server directly, this is the welfare of our Huaxia district, what do you short-sighted people know? You need to know that killing a pheasant will provide a little experience. The quest has not been found on the other NPCs. Only this mysterious NPC can do it. You can still upgrade the level by giving money. For a while, almost everyone was asking where this NPC was. Jiang Nan, the president of the Yenyu Jiangnan trade union, after reading the post on the forum, immediately exchanged 500,000 krypton gold for 5,000 gold coins and went to Lin Chen to try his luck. 5,000 gold coins is enough to cultivate a small team of 10 people who have been transferred, and you can get the first kill reward for the first dungeon. The game, Ragnarok, is the only one in the world, and it is divided into Huaxia District, Cold District, Bay Magnesium District, and O Porridge area according to different regions. The dungeon's first kill reward is the world's first kill reward. The rewards are outrageous. What's more, being able to hang the name of your guild on the global dungeon list is a matter of glory to your ancestors. This is a good publicity. You can promote your own guild, not to mention that it will be promoted to level 10 and transferred within an hour of the service, and it will go further in the future. It's just a startup capital, and Jiang Nan spends this money without blinking an eye. However, he thought that he was very fast, but he didn't expect that there were many people around Lin Chen. Among them is the sworn enemy, Emperor Heaven Hegemony. The president of Huangtian Bay is a rich second generation in his 20s. Jiang Nan once saw him, relying on his father's arrogance, and in front of Jiang Nan, he said that Jiang Nan was old and should retire. "Hey, I knew you old fox was the only thing to do." Far away, the president of the Emperor Heaven Tyrant dominates the world, and said to Jiang Nan with a smile on his face. Jiang Nan is too lazy to take care of it. But quite a few have already started to upgrade. At this time, Jiang Nan also squeezed in. Mission, me, NPC, playing money. Give a specific NPC a gold coin to gain 10 XP. Do you accept the assignment? Jiang Nan chose to accept. Then the task was submitted. The package contains 1 less gold and gains 10 experience. He also went from level 2 to level 3. Level 2 to level 3 requires 30 points of experience, and he has killed a lot of pheasants before, so he already has 20 points of experience. This upgrade is cool enough. However, the exclamation mark on Lin Chen's head was still there, and Jiang Nan clicked it again and found that it could still be done. Or 1 gold is equal to 10 experience. Mom, is it really circular? No wonder these people stand still here. Lin Chen sat in place, smiling and watching his money bag bulge little by little. As the level of the players increases, everyone's eyes are red, and the mechanical operation, the eyes are not blinking, which is really top. But just when everyone's average level was around 4 or 5, Lin Chen suddenly put away the yellow exclamation mark. The task can't be done. Can't do it. Everyone was confused. Lin Chen, on the other hand, unhurriedly took out the novice wooden stick that I love firewood from his backpack and smashed it in the direction of the player's head. A stick for a little friend. The black dragon has killed you. You dropped a white gear boxing gloves. The black dragon has killed you. You dropped 5 strength. The black dragon has killed you. You dropped the white skill book primary heal. Sure enough, the higher the player's level, the more things will be dropped. Lin Chen has the authority to kill players to obtain attributes and skills. In less than a minute, all the players around him were emptied, and the ground was full either equipment or skill books. As for attribute points, they were directly added to him. Crowd players, MMP. There is no one of the most pitiful NPCs in history. This thing turned out to be a black dragon. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for gaining 100% hatred from the player, and the black dragon quest score is plus 100. The prompt of the wisdom brain also appeared in Lin Chen's ears. In this full server black dragon event. Naturally, the goal of the players is to overthrow the black dragon boss and capture the huge rewards. But in less than an hour after the service was opened, a level 40 boss was created around the novice village, which is a human officer. It's absolutely impossible to go head-to-head, but the major guilds smell business opportunities. They originally brought a lot of money and resources to the game, and a top 10 guild in China had at least tens of thousands of people. Can't crowd tactics crush each other? But the NPC of the 9527 novice village is really disgusting. But in fact, for NPCs, their task is to disgust the players, drive them crazy, and make them kryptonite. Let them crash. Otherwise, what do game companies eat? The longer each NPC playing as a black dragon survives, the more players it kills, and the more rewards they get by the time it comes to final settlement. According to Lin Chen's understanding, this is the case. Scoring should be a crucial criterion for judging how much reward you receive in the end. Lin Chen smiled, picked up everything on the ground, and put it in his backpack. NPCs' backpacks are all oversized and have no limits. The stat value is directly added to him. Now, Lin Chen's attribute value has become like this. Name, Lin Chen. Class, NPC. Strength, 677, Black Dragon bonus 500. Stamina, 680, Black Dragon bonus 500. Intelligence, 722, Black Dragon bonus 500. Dexterity, 588, Black Dragon bonus 500. It's really a wave of fat. He carried a wooden stick from the newbie and wandered at the door of the novice village. In the Black Dragon event dungeon, there is no way for the Black Dragon to enter the novice village. Otherwise, Lin Chen really wanted to slaughter all the players in the novice village. He discovers that his first supreme privilege is actually that he can get something every time he kills a player, and there is a guaranteed chance of dropping. The loot was counted. 472 pieces of whiteboard equipment. Most of them are white mallets in the starter pack. 12 pieces of green equipment. It seems that there are still players with better character who have exploded equipment on the pheasant. As for the blue gear, there is not a single hair. It's poor. The presidents of the major trade unions and the scattered players stood in the novice village, facing Lin Chen, but no one dared to take a step. If they knew that Lin Chen was complaining while disgusting the things that fell from them at this time, it was estimated that they would want to die at this time. More and more people gathered. White light flashed in the teleportation array. Who is squeezing Lao Tzu? The players in the novice village didn't dare to go out at all, resulting in more and more people in the village. People crowd people, people next to people. Since this is a holographic online game, it is impossible for people to overlap, and what happens in the game can be 100% simulated in reality. However, players can adjust the level of simulation according to their own requirements. Otherwise, if you are accidentally stared at by the boss, many people will faint directly. There are more and more people, quarrels, scolding, and fighting. Of course, there are some people who are more bizarre. It turns out that the little pants given by the newbie can be taken off. It was a strong man who spoke, and directly pulled down the small pants. Click, a bolt of lightning fell from the sky, and Ji Brain sent him to prison for the crime of endangering the public. The nearby players were stunned for a moment and then began to move hands and feet to each other. As a result, Lin Chen saw that a lot of thunder and lightning fell from the sky, harvesting the lives of the players. There was a riot in the novice village, and some of the players outside who stepped on the line of the safe zone and did not dare to go out were accidentally pushed out. Lin Chen killed him unceremoniously. He picked up their equipment again. After coming and going, the entire novice village players exploded. There are also several posts in the forum that have been topped. Shocked, crazy NPCs snatch people's property and attack viciously. I thought it was the welfare of the Huaxia district, but I didn't expect it to be the nightmare of the Huaxia district. Don't get cheap and sell well, the novice village doesn't drop the level when you die, you guys, don't you just drop a little bit of the whiteboard equipment given by the system, but you somehow rose to level 5, and the highest is level 7. Stay away from that snake spirit NPC, my attributes are gone. This post was topped the highest. The landlord cried deeply, saying that he had put a lot of effort into entering the game Ragnarok. Since this game is a holographic projection, and each player's attributes are based on the physical fitness of the scanned player. So before entering the game, he spent 12,000 to find a personal trainer to train in the gym for 3 months, and after entering the game, his strength and physical strength were also worth 20. Originally, it was the key MT training object of the Yenyu Jiangnan Trade Union, but now it's okay. After being killed by that mysterious NPC, the strength has dropped by 5 points. So he denounced the game company and quickly deleted Lin Chen's bug, otherwise, he would be sued. However, the game company also replied quickly, saying that after the event ended, the opponent's lost attribute points would be returned. But now programmer Wang Yu was sprayed by Yang Xiaowei in the office of the president of the game. Didn't you tell me that you could fix this bug? When I first made G-Brain, I said that I wanted to leave the back door. What did you say? You said no. Now, she is fully operational. Do you think of me? Wang Yu was still carrying it at first, but Yang Xiaowei's speech was really getting more and more ugly. He couldn't stand it anymore and began to retort. Now that G-Brain has completely mastered the game, the maintenance work and activity dungeons and the like are all done by herself, so let's do some game balance or something at most. If you want to go back to the past and fully master the brain, it's impossible, and I don't think it's a bug. Let's just have one server, every international region. Sooner or later, we have to fight. When we first designed it, we tended to be game balanced. Do you think Zybrain would not have thought of this? Yang Xiaowei was speechless, waved his hand, and told Wang Yu to get out of here. And here, Lin Chen was speechless when he saw that there were no players coming out, and he counted the equipment and skills in his pocket. He simply sat on the ground and began to set up a stall. White equipment is always 10 copper coins. All green equipment is 50 credits. It's 10 to 20 times the market price. When the equipment was placed, the members of the 2 major trade unions looked at each other, and the major guilds said that they would not move and take a look at the situation first. As a result, he saw Lin Chen unhurriedly take out the white skill book from his backpack. The faces of the major guilds have changed, their eyes are green, and they are a little upset. This NPC is a pit, it's poisonous, it's... With so much equipment, all guild bosses can realize the consequences if these equipment are covered by the same guild. What's more, this NPC actually took out the skills taken off the player and sold them in a grand manner. The face of the dominant turned red, and without thinking about it, he pushed out a member of the Emperor Heaven Hegemony Guild beside him. What are you still doing in a daze? Hurry up and buy everything back for me, and I'll send you money. The union member rushed forward without saying a word. The same goes for other players. A swarm rushed in front of Lin Chen. Some rushed over their heads and accidentally touched Lin Chen's body. There will be hints of the brain. You attacked the black dragon. The black dragon reflects the damage. You're dead. Both prompts arrived almost at the same time. Several players in a row have become cannon fodder, and a vacuum suddenly appeared in front of Lin Chen. Everyone tried to keep the farthest trading distance from Lin Chen, and then traded with Lin Chen. And Lin Chen set up a stall while picking and choosing the skill books in the package. There are a total of 8 white skill books. It is worth mentioning that the grade of the skill book is the same as the grade of the equipment. White is the worst, in order: white, green, blue, purple, gold, and red. There are 3 green skills books. The blue skill book here is not there. Actually, that's pretty good. Because the explosion rate of the skill book is even lower than the explosion rate of the equipment. Lin Chen looked at the first white skill book, Primary Healing Technique. Can restore 8% of the target's HP. It's useless, at least it's useless to Lin Chen. Lin Chen hung up at the price of 10 gold coins. Seconds no. Sloppy. The second white skill, Sweep. In fact, this skill is the first skill after the warrior transfers, and the official introduction says that if you learn it, you only need 50 copper plates. But if there is such a skill in the novice village, if you meet the boss, it is also a big killer. Lin Chen hung up 20 gold coins. At this point, all the players hesitated. But it was only promised for a few seconds, and then the skill book was gone. Guilds are indeed the primary productive force that drives game consumption. The third skill is teleportation, which can teleport a range of about 10 meters. This is good. Lin Chen learned it on the spot. This move also made the players completely speechless. It's the first time I've seen such a free NPC in the game Ragnarok. Have the ability to think independently and have their own personality. He also thought that Lin Chen would take out all these things and sell them. What I didn't expect was that this shameless NPC screamed in front of them, and learned it by himself if it was good. All he threw out was garbage. You still sell garbage so expensive. Profiteers. Lin Chen picked out 3 skills out of that pile of skills. Teleportation, ground spikes, and shadow clones. Ground stabbing is a mage's skill. One more point to clarify is the skill of the earth mage. Shadow clones and teleportation don't need to be explained, they are only skills of assassins. But Lin Chen is an NPC and has no career restrictions, so he learned these books directly. She didn't ask for the rest of the equipment or anything, and the equipment in the blacksmith's grandfather's house in the town was a small blue boutique. Maybe he has a red god costume on his hands. When the time comes, let's see if we can fool around. Sell all the gear you have. Lin Chen stood up. Jiangnan hurriedly asked all the members of his own trade union to retreat. Yenyu Jiangnan is also one of the top 10 trade unions in Huaxia district. Jiangnan has its own company, plus he is old, he is not good at fighting or anything, but he is good at conspiracy and power tricks, better than anyone else. People give the nickname Old Fox. When Lin Chen stood up, his eyelids jumped wildly, and he always felt that this NPC who was a cheating father would do something amazing. So he asked all the team members around him to hurriedly retreat. Although his caution was understood by the Yenyu Jiangnan family, he was ridiculed by the world. I said, Old Fox, are you too cautious? Jiangnan smiled, I bought a lot of things, so I'll give you this opportunity. He laughed like a resourceful old fox. Dominating the world is a straight rich second generation, who doesn't understand anything, and sneered, cowardice. As soon as the words fell, the rich second generation, who was still energetic just now has a cold neck, and the person is directly gone. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for killing the male dominate the world and getting a pair of jade wrenches. That's it. Didn't explode a little more, and Lin Chen felt a loss. But the probability of what to explode is really random, but if you kill the player, it will definitely explode. Then kill a few more times, and something satisfying will soon be available. The player who hadn't had time to run back to the safe zone let Lin Chen slam him again. Spending money on things for nothing, right? Something must fall from them. Lin Chen was quite satisfied with the harvest. After this time, the players no longer dared to go out of the novice village. A group of people stared at one person, and the group of people was still trembling with fright, and they didn't dare to make a mistake. On the forum, a post was topped by the old high. Strongly demand the deletion of the Black Dragon petition outside number 9527 Novice Village. More than 1,000 people have already liked the post. I can't beat it, and it's easy to be cheated when I go out. Watch as the vicious NPC who had picked up their equipment again set up their stall again. A group of players are in pain. Jiangnan found a little brother. This is a little brother who doesn't have any equipment on his body, and it's still the kind of average that is lower than the public attributes. Because he found that some talented people, if they were killed by Lin Chen, there was a probability of dropping attributes. Although, the game company promises that the attributes they dropped will be returned afterwards. But this is also unhappy, isn't it? Found such a wonderful and superb account, Jiang Nan sent this little brother to make a deal with Lin Chen. And these players are very smart, they tie a thick rope to the little brother's body, and once the transaction is completed, they immediately pull it back. Lin Chen couldn't cry or laugh, these people were also awesome. Buy an item, pull it back, and immediately trade it to other accounts. Jiang Nan can come up with a way to dominate the world, and for a while, many guild bosses have operated one after another, and slowly bought the equipment and skills that Lin Chen set up a stall. At this time, Lin Chen didn't bother to pay attention to them, because a countdown appeared in front of him, the countdown to the Black Dragon activity. There are less than 10 seconds left. What's there to deal with? As soon as the 10 seconds were up, Lin Chen disappeared in place, including her stall, which was also gone. Players trembling in the safe zone. Jiang Nan spat out a mouthful of old blood, patronizing and fighting wits with NPCs, and even forgot to check the event time. At the last moment, this NPC will definitely not do it, and I knew that I would rush up and buy the rest. The most pitiful NPC in history has temporarily twisted the major guild bosses in the novice village into a rope. The stunned man who dominated the world even asked, "How much did you grab? Can you not lose money? At least I'm losing gold." Jiang Nan smiled with an unfathomable face, "Whether you lose or not, I will never lose anyway." After saying that, he cried like something. But he was still able to keep the smile on his face and leave with the people in the south of the Yangtze River. This game is really bad. The pit is home. Be sure to complain. Dominating the world is an upright person, after all, he is a rich second generation, and he is not so twisted and turned. No, you all make it clear, when the time comes, we will complain together. How many benefits have you gained? I won't say how much benefit I have gained at this time. On the contrary, the bosses of the major guilds are like human spirits, and most of them show that they have gained a lot of things, and they leave with great satisfaction. Only dominates the world, with a confused face. Boss, the military advisor who dominates the world is called Xiongba Qingnan. They are all lying to you. I don't know how to complain when I go back. This game is too pitiful. How many gold coins have we lost, and what we bought is still our own. If you don't buy it, won't you give it to others? Let's just go back and complain. Dominate the south of the city and dominate the world, and I am really speechless about the character of my own guild leader. Usually offends everyone arrogantly, but now he still asks, and he really doesn't see it. Lin Chen teleported back to the town. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for completing the Black Dragon activity, being rated. In this event, the host is full of player hatred and has a rating of +100. In this event, the host will drop players gold, skills, and equipment, with a total of 530,000 gold coins. Rating +100. In this activity, the host survived until the end of the event, and the survival time was 2 hours. Rating +100. In this event, the host takes 5 points of player damage, causing 50 million points of player damage and a rating of +200. The host has a base rating of 100 in this event. The reward due to the host is being counted. Counted over, please draw your own rewards. A large golden turntable appeared in front of Lin Chen. She glanced at it hurriedly. There are many options on this large golden turntable. There are supreme permissions, management rights, a set of red legend equipment, attribute values, and money, and even a few beautiful thugs. The item reward should be the worst. Managing permissions should be best. As for those beautiful thugs, Lin Chen didn't look at them at all. Click to rotate, the golden wheel spins quickly, and finally the pointer stops on the administrative permissions. Congratulations to the host for supreme privileges, they can customize their own player equipment. The rig editor is bound. Lin Chen opened the equipment editor, and there were many items to choose from. First of all, you could choose the shape, appearance, and basic attributes. She immediately made a starter stick with full stats. After equipping myself, I found that my attributes and attack power had not changed at all. Co-authored Lao Tzu made a lonely. Ding dong, friendly reminder, you can only make player equipment, and the dead reservoir water you got last time is NPC equipment. But when I'm active, I can use it. Lin Chen subconsciously replied, but she quickly understood that it could be used, but it could only be used as decorations, without adding any attributes. When she played the Black Dragon, she had a Black Dragon buff on her body, and the basic attributes were there. You want to force me to wear dead water, but there is no door. Lin Chen gritted his teeth. After this Black Dragon activity, Lin Chen's attributes have become. Name, Lin Chen. Class, NPC. Strength, 177. Stamina, 180. Intelligence, 222. Dexterity, 88. The lesson learned from the last Black Dragon event is that the higher the player's level, the better the equipment. When she kills the player, the better the stats and skills she can gain. This event is a wave of fat. Just as Lin Chen was cleaning up the loot, Aunt Wang next door walked over with a smile. Xiao Lin Chen, what reward have you received? After talking, Lin Chen learned that Aunt Wang had obtained 50 gold coins. She checked the permissions again. The third supreme privilege allows you to open and use the GM store and the function of making props. However, it is not possible to craft gold coins. Lin Chen opened the GM mall, and there was NPC equipment in the mall. But it's all small skirts. Either that's a swimsuit. Is it true that women's clothing is only 0 times and countless times? No, now Lin Chen is already Lori. It stands to reason that this is not women's clothing either, but normal attire. In the fashion area of the GM mall, there are items that can be previewed. Lin Chen became addicted. After all, she spent more than 4 hours pinching her face when she entered Ragnarok, and she planned to let herself play a she-male in the game. I didn't expect it to be applied to myself now. It's so beautiful. In the GM market, the currency traded is still gold. So far, a total of 100,000 gold coins have been scavenged from players. There are several sets of NPC equipment that can be purchased. However, the NPC equipment in the GM mall, although it is good-looking, the attributes are not good. Lin Chen is still a man in his heart after all, and his thinking is also very rational. For her, it doesn't matter if the equipment looks good or not, as long as it's easy to use. Wisdom brain, where can I get it on NPC equipment? Ding dong, you can get it by killing NPCs or completing quests. Kill NPCs? Lin Chen glanced at Aunt Wang, who was busy beside him. Exaggeration, isn't there any other way? No, normal NPCs are NPCs, and bosses are NPCs. And ordinary bosses are estimated to only drop the equipment used by players, and high-level bosses will drop NPC equipment. Another way is to complete the task. However, so far, Lin Chen has no tasks and is relatively idle. With a huge sum of 100,000 gold coins, she lived a very comfortable life in the town. Player forums. At this time, the post of the player forum complaining about the Black Dragon event was the highest one. Complaint 9527 Novice Village Unscrupulous NPC Black Dragon. First floor, I went to see the scene, it was very miserable, especially those top 10 guilds in Huaxia. To be honest, I really wanted to laugh. Second floor, I am the emperor who dominates the world. Upstairs, I remember you. Third floor, dominating the world is still like this. Looking at your performance, I think there is no hope for Huaxia district. Because of you. Fourth floor, shouldn't we discuss how to complain? We demand the return of all equipment. Why is it only our Black Dragon here that is so pitted? Fifth floor, what are you guys talking about? The Black Dragon NPC outside our number 3333 novice village is awesome, and at the beginning she played the role of an old woman who sold cakes, and you can get a healing buff if you buy one for 1 gold coin. And then all of a sudden, he turned into a big demon king and smashed us all to death with a big cake, who to reason with? 6th floor, that's really miserable. I heard that there is also a Black Dragon NPC that takes the initiative to attack monsters, but anyone who leaves the novice village will be killed directly in seconds, which is called a miserable. 7th floor, how many hours has it only been open? With such a perverted boss, doesn't the game company want to open it? Who killed the boss of this attribute? 8th floor, that's your bad luck. Our novice village killed the boss to get a reward, and the boss was like an iron hanin, standing in place and not bothering to move, and forced us to grind blood and grind to death. 9th floor, so are we. Although a small number of people have been emphasizing the need to recover lost equipment and the like, there are still most people who are quite satisfied with the Black Dragon event. Because after they kill the Black Dragon boss, they get the Black Dragon buff, which temporarily increases the whole body attribute by 50, increases the base recovery power by 50%, and lasts for 2 hours. Now, these people are struggling to kill monsters in order to level up. In the end, players in the 9527 newbie village only received compensation for attribute points and a consolation prize encouragement of a little gold. The rest is nothing. It's okay for players to mess around, because they still have to level up. Just when some people are immersed in upgrades, and some people plan to quit the tour, an official announcement smashed everyone's eyes. Announcement. The attributes or equipment that players obtain in the game have a chance to bring them back to reality and improve you in the real world. The experience is gradually being opened. Please consult the ZF official website for details. It's an experience with the latest technology. Happy playing. It can also bring back the reality. What the is this black technology? Is it possible? Sijiacheng, Qingbei University. Department of Computer Science, Female Dormitory. Yen, do you have a game card for the new Ragnarok? The glasses girl suddenly turned her head and said to Bai Luoyen behind her. At this time, Bai Luoyen was watering Xiaohua, put down the watering can in her hand, nodded and said, I've played. How is it? The glasses girl's eyes lit up. I studied the announcement, he said. It seems to be true. This game company is very powerful. Their brain is connected to the latest technology. If you use their game helmet to enter the game, the attributes or equipment obtained from the game seem to be really able to bring back to reality. You can save it. How is it possible? Bai Luoyen didn't reply, and the female man on the top bunk criticized while reading a book. ZF official website news is written on it, you can see it yourself. The glasses girl didn't raise the bar with her, and pointed to the web page. Really? The female man jumped down directly from the top bunk. My dad bought me a game warehouse. I've always been troublesome and useless. Is it that the game warehouse and game helmet will get more attributes? Do you think that one day, this real world will also be full of magic and fighting spirit? The glasses girl was a little speechless. Shan, didn't you just say that it was unreliable? I'm just talking. What are you really doing? The female man said casually, looking at the web page. Bai Luoyen shrugged her shoulders indifferently. I want to retreat. Why? The second daughter was a little puzzled. Yesterday there was a particularly perverted event in the newbie village. I participated, and the equipment, the gold, and all my enthusiasm were lost. Bai Luoyen is called a depressed. When I thought of the NPC I met last night, I felt itchy teeth, but her guild Sonorous Rose reported it so far, and there is no result. It is estimated that the big things are small, the small things are turned into small things, and in the end, it is over. The official website issued such an announcement, and the matter of the pit NPC will definitely be suppressed. Because of this, Bai Luoyen didn't play the game all day. You've just entered the novice village for less than 2 hours, what equipment do you have? Bai Luoyen shook her head, what do you know? My number is lucky. Not long after I entered the game, a healing technique broke out on the pheasant, and I haven't had time to learn it yet. Are you going to be a wet nurse? The female man looked at Bai Luoyan solemnly. I don't have any plans to do that. Bai Luoyan replied. The female man was a little crazy. Then you learn to be a Harry. If you fall off, you will fall off, you can take me. As soon as this guy spoke, he called his dad and asked him to send the game warehouse over. The game warehouse is a valuable thing, much more expensive than a helmet. There are 3 ways to play the game Ragnarok. The first is to take the game card to the internet cafe, which has a helmet and a game compartment, and you can plug it in and play casually. The second type, buy a game helmet. The worst game helmet is 500 yuan a piece, and the best is 5,000. These 3 types, game cabins, are essential for the rich, with a minimum of 10,000 and a maximum of 1 million. The only difference between cheap and expensive is that the expensive game warehouse can be added with a good nutrient solution. Even if people stay in the game for 10 days and half a month, they will not die. Bai Luoyan's family is not wealthy, she only got a game card, and she usually goes to an internet cafe. After the female man finished the call, he said to the 2 roommates excitedly, I just told my dad to ask him to send 3 game pods over. Send me? Both eyes widened at the glasses girl. The female man slapped the glasses girl on the arm, grinning in pain with the other party. If you want to be beautiful, you can rent it to you, okay? Lao Bai, you can take me. With the game warehouse, naturally there is no need to go out. Bai Luoyan originally wanted to retire, but when she heard the female man say this, she nodded. Then teach me how to get started first, and let's go online immediately. Walk. The female man grabbed Bai Luoyan, turned her head and left. And in the streets and alleys of all parts of the country, similar plots are being staged in many places. 12 hours after the game was launched, the first batch of players finally reached level 10, and started the road to changing jobs. At this time, Lin Chen had been waiting in the town for a long time. By the time the first player steps onto the town's stone paths, the entire town has almost gone crazy with NPCs. Aunt Wang didn't know how many times she asked Lin Chen beside her, little girl, can you look at my dress? Players are able to purchase flatbread because of their attributes. Definitely not because of the taste of flatbread. Lin Chen glanced at Aunt Wang's flatbread, which looked crooked and cracked. As for the attributes, strength plus 10, and the recovery speed of blood volume increased by 10%. Of course, this property is not permanent, and has a lasting effect for 24 hours. It's not a loss to count 1 gold coin, because this thing can be stacked. Stacks up to 5. Selling cakes is definitely a good source of income, and Lin Chen suddenly felt that his money-making task was not very fragrant. Sure enough, no matter where you are, it's still very important to have a craft. Xiao Chener and Wang saw Lin Chen in a daze, and hurriedly asked, why are you in a daze? Auntie, you're so perfect. Lin Chen's voice was sweet and glutinous, a pair of cute big eyes were shining, and his little face with a little baby fat made people can't help but touch it. Oops, Aunt Wang couldn't help but get started and touched Lin Chen's little face. Xiao Chener is so cute, come, eat cakes. Lin Chen, who was stuffed with a cake, showed an embarrassed smile on his face. What, Aunt Wang, teach me the technique of pancakes. I've got a cookbook there, you can learn it. Aunt Wang said. With a smile. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for accepting the task, a gift from Aunt Wang. Mission, Aunt Wang's gift. Aunt Wang gave you a cooking skills book, go learn it. Learned, 0 to 1. Lin Chen took the book from Aunt Wang with a puzzled face. I'll study hard. Lin Chen took the book back to the room. There are also cooking tools in this luxurious princess room, all of which have no attribute bonuses. There are cooking tools in the GM store that have stat bonuses, and they require gold to buy. She took a cursory look, and the cheapest set cost 50,000 gold coins. And she only has a total of 100,000 gold coins. It's too expensive. Better tools make good work. All right. She gritted her teeth, but still spent the money and purchased a set of glittering GM Mall exclusive cooking tools, which can only be used by NPCs. Although Lin Chen can also make props in the Supreme Authority, the props she makes are only available to players. It hurts. It won't be a cooking tool that cost 50,000 gold coins to buy, and it just feels different when you hold it in your hand. The golden pot. A golden shovel. There are also a variety of golden cooking props. Lin Chen first cleaned the stove that had never been cleaned, and then hung all the cooking props on the stove. She has a bit of obsessive-compulsive disorder, and she has to clean up everything before she starts to operate. The golden pot produced by GM Mall. Increases cooking speed by 20%, increases boutique chance by 20%, and increases tasty value by 20%. Golden spatula produced by GM Mall. Increases cooking speed by 20%, increases boutique chance by 20%, and increases delicacy by 20%. This set adds up to 40%. Lin Chen originally wanted to go out and ask Aunt Wang for a little wheat flour, but she gave up this idea, and she simply bought it from the system mall. 5 gold coins in a bag. A bag is about 500 grams. What a pit. But the wool comes out of the sheep. When the time comes, she will still cheat and get it back from the player. Open the cooking skill book, and a progress bar appears in the lower right corner of your eye, 1%. She flipped through a few more pages, and the bar grew little by little. It didn't take long for her to finish the whole book, and the progress bar became 100%. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for completing the task. Ragnarok claims to be the most realistic game ever created. After finishing his studies, Lin Chen found out the recipe for pancakes. Follow the tips in the cooking skills book and mix the dough with flour and water. Using cooking tools from the Golden GM Mall, mix flour and water in it. This cooking process has the effect of speeding up cooking. So it didn't take long for Lin Chen to make the dough. According to the book, the oil was poured and it cost 3 gold coins. Knead the dough into a cake shape and fry until golden brown on both sides, and then it is ready to serve. Roll in oil, under the cake. In the process, the oil splashed out, which frightened Lin Chen. Her double ponytail jumped, she held the lid of the pot in one hand, blocked it like a shield, and quickly retreated. Slala. She noticed that a green reading strip appeared on the golden pot, and it was slowly advancing, and there was a red mark on the reading strip, indicating that it was most appropriate for the reading strip to walk in that place. Lin Chen quickly scooped up the dough cake. Originally, it looked good when I dropped it, it was quite round, but now it looks like a big crack, and it is extremely ugly. Even, some places have turned dark. With a strange look, she placed the slightly hard dough in the porcelain plate. Smack. The porcelain plate is cracked. Cracked. Burnt pancakes. The taste is hard to swallow, and the hard ones can hit people. Strength plus 10, poison resistance plus 5, duration 24 hours, stackable 5. Although the shape is extremely ugly. But in the end, it was a dough cake made with oil that cost 3 gold coins, flour that cost 5 gold coins, and kitchen utensils that cost 50,000 gold coins. Even if it's not good, but in the end, it still has attributes. It's good to have attributes. What do you want to taste? It's not her who eats it anyway. The host's first cooking, gain 1 experience. Life skills are divided into the following levels: Rusty, Skilled, Mastery, Master, National, Legendary. Lin Chen's current level is Rusty, and it takes 100 experience points to go from Rusty to Proficient. 100 loaves need to be made. So. Hard bang bang pancakes. It looks ugly, it is as hard as a stone, and it can be used to hit people. Strength plus 10, poison resistance plus 5, duration 24 hours, stackable 5. Premium, poison resistance plus 100, stackable. Strangely colored pancakes. The color is weird, and I don't know if the person who made it is deserting. Strength plus 10, poison resistance plus 5, duration 24 hours, stackable 5. Premium, poison resistance plus 100, stackable. Pancake with a ruined taste. The taste is badly damaged and difficult to swallow. Strength plus 10, poison resistance plus 5, duration 24 hours, stackable 5. Premium, poison resistance plus 100, stackable. Lin Chen. All cooking tools have a 20% probability of being high quality, and the spatula plus iron pot has a 40% probability, and the high quality attribute occasionally appears and occasionally does not. But she always felt that she was cooking according to the method described in the book, and there was nothing wrong with every step, and she didn't know why the things she made were either strange or smelly. And this boutique property. Who are you laughing at? How is it poisonous? Huh. There was already a bustling sound outside, and it seemed that players had already entered the town. Lin Chen took a deep breath, and didn't bother to continue to be angry with the props in the kitchen, so he still used these made pancakes to go out to cheat money, no, go out to make money. Xiongba Qingnan teleported to this town with 4 or 5 people. There should be a transfer mentor here, right? Said Xiannam's face was ugly. Ragnarok is really a wonderful flower in the history of the game. Not only does each NPC in the game have independent intelligence and personality, but also find a transfer mentor, can exhaust people to death. When they left the novice village, the village chief handed out a love map to everyone, which marked the main city and small town nearby. As long as you go to a city above the town level, you can find a transfer mentor. Xiongba Qingnan is a bit of a road idiot, and after a long detour, he was chased by dogs and bitten by wolves before he finally found this town. Strategist, why do we have to run to this town? Xiongba Tsangqiong looked at Xiongba Qingnan with a confused expression. Isn't it good for us to change jobs in the previous Qinglong city? You didn't watch the first expansion of the game. Dominate Qingnan's stomach with anger, and turn his head to look at the dominating sky behind him. It's not because this guy is strong, and he spent more than 10,000 yuan to practice in the gym for 3 months before entering the game, so his strength attribute is full value, and his physical strength attribute is also full value. If you do this, you can become Berserker or become an MT. Outputs such as warriors are not lacking in general games. The 3 professions that are most lacking in the game, the first rare profession, the second MT, and the third nurse. The latter 2 professions are practiced by the public, and although there are relatively few people who practice these 2 professions, they are necessary for the next dungeon. The guild's position for dominating the sky is MT, and it is also the MT in the first elite team. When the time comes, all MT equipment and attributes will be piled on him. Otherwise, the south of the city is too lazy to bring this stupid hat with 1 tendon. Dominating the sky looked inexplicable. What's wrong with the expansion? The only nurse in the team, male bully Ling Long said helplessly, there is a big boss in the town of Odin, and this town is the town mentioned in the expansion. You say, why should the game be specifically mentioned? There must be treasure in there. The majestic sky immediately understood, nodded and said. They quickly found the career transition hall. But when they entered, the 12 transfer instructors in the transfer hall made up 3 tables of mahjong, and they were playing happily. From the moment I entered this town in the south of the city, I felt that something was not right. The NPCs here are different from the NPCs elsewhere. Although they are all NPCs, they all have their own consciousness. But it seems to be a little more lively here. It's like these 3 mahjong games. You can't have it in any other city. Xiongba Qingnan's voice suddenly raised slightly. Hello, can I change jobs? No one paid any attention to him. What he wants to change most is the mage, and the mage's transfer mentor is very recognizable, because the mage is elegant and noble, so the mage wears a noble magic robe. This one looks. Except for the women, the men here are shirtless. I can't tell which one is a magician. Among the 12 adults, there is also a little girl wearing a dark-style Lolita skirt with a white double ponytail. Isn't this a magician? It's possible. Look at the dark-style Lolita that the little girl is wearing, the noble fabric. This should be a little bit linked to the magician, right? This little girl is Lin Chen. Xiongba Qingnan walked up to Lin Chen respectfully and asked, "Are you the venerable mage turnaround mentor?" "Tommy, your dish." Little Lori patted the muscular man behind her. The muscular man had long ice blue hair and a handsome face, and if he only looked at his head, he seemed to be linked to the mage. But this thing also has blue flame tattoos on its body, and a body of knotted muscles, especially the 8-pack abs, which makes people look enviable. Lao Tzu is not available. Tommy didn't even think about replying. Is it Trump? Which is out of tune under the voice pack. The majestic sky can't help but want to laugh. What are you laughing at? Xiongba Qingnan only feels that his head is big. Under normal circumstances, these NPCs should rush to accept apprentices when they see players with better attributes. The people brought by dominating the south of the city this time are all talented. For example, the 2 attributes of this dominating the sky are full when they are born. For example, when Xiongba Linglong was born and established a number, it happened to be the 999th special number to enter the game, and she drew a small buff about healing, and her healing skills would increase the healing effect by 15%. Another example is to dominate Qingnan himself. His spirit is different from ordinary people, and when he enters the game, his intelligence growth is full value. Like the 3 of them, if they change jobs, they should be rushed to ask for them, and there is even a probability that they will become rare professions. But now, what the hell is going on? I'll come. Xiongba Sky thought he was special, and yelled, "I'm going to change jobs." As soon as he finished speaking, a crocodile leather shoe with a slight foot odor smashed into his face. The dominant Sky in the safety zone turned the perception system to the highest, and the smell really almost stunned him. "You want to change jobs, don't you?" The one who lost his shoes was a bearded man in green pants. "There is a spider nest in the south of the town, you slaughter the spider queen there, take her eyeballs, and we will transfer you to another job." Tasks. Moreover, it seems to be a quest. For a while, the members of the Emperor Heaven Hegemony were all bright-eyed. Lin Chen secretly gave a thumbs up to Na Luo's beard. The latter winked at Lin Chen, and then said, "That place is full of venom, I advise you to buy some poison resistance equipment." "Thank you, mentor." The majestic Sky hurriedly thanked him. When he saw that a few people were leaving, he left them behind again. "What are you running? Is this a gift from a mentor?" The members of the Emperor Heaven Hegemony were immediately grateful. They looked at the properties of the pies. This can all increase strength and poison resistance. Awesome. Xiongba Qingnan bit down, and his teeth cracked. He was a little confused. The strong man stretched out a furry hand. "Give money, a 500 gold coin." "Robbery, ah." Lin Chen's eyes lit up. She was originally priced at 50, but when she arrived at the strong man, it became 500. As for the black heart, she still hasn't cultivated enough. Ragnarok is a game with a special focus on simulation. Players can eat in the game and get the same experience as eating in the real world. For the taste and aroma of the food, you can experience it 100%. Of course, the experience of dark cuisine is exactly the same. The strong man's name is Ed, and the pancakes for them to eat are all freshly baked by Lin Chen, and they all have the boutique attribute of 100 poison resistance. Although there are boutique attributes, it is very awesome. But at the same time, it's too expensive. And it's still a forced buy and a strong sell. The first to bite was Xiongba Qingnan, and he felt that he couldn't speak. especially the 2 teeth that had been broken, and he didn't know if they would grow back. He spoke leaky, "Is it swollen like this?" The rest of the people hurriedly passed the pancake into Ed's arms. But Ed was a grumpy, his eyes widened, and he looked at everyone angrily and said, "What? It's really a strong buy and a strong sell." Ed suddenly turned his head and yelled at the remaining 11 people behind him, "These boys aren't going to pay." There was a bang, the mahjong tables were overturned, and the 11 angry instructors were gearing up. Slowly approaching the members of the Imperial Heaven Hegemony. Xiongba Qingnan trembled, felt that the blood in his body was about to coagulate, and hurriedly said, "We give money, give money." Ed stretched out a hairy hand, and it was obvious that if he didn't give money today, he wouldn't want to walk out of the transfer hall. So he had no choice but to send a voice to the world, "President, transfer me 2,500 gold coins. No one would carry so many gold coins out there. If you get killed, you'll lose 10%. Although it is not guaranteed, the probability is also very high. All the money of the Emperor Tyrant is stored in a specific small warehouse. After all, the players are not yet 30, and there is no way to set up a guild." The man on the other side was startled. "What are you doing? You shouldn't have found an NPC in that town that exchanged gold for levels, right? Although, for ordinary players, the NPC that appeared last time in exchange for gold coins for level is a pitfall. But in the eyes of the local Tyrant Union players, this is a treasure. Pretty much." Xiongba Qingnan's face was ugly. "He gave us a special item that can increase 100 poison resistance within 24 hours, and also gave us a task. I think, after completing this task, there is a chance to get a hidden class. Under normal circumstances, job transfers are straightforward. But this time, the transfer actually issued a task, so it is very likely that the transfer will become a rare class." Xiongba Qingnan is a very smart person, and almost everything he says is not very important. Dominate the world, this is a trivial matter, not to mention that all 5 of them have turned into rare professions. Even if there is only one, they are all earned. Therefore, 2,500 gold coins quickly arrived in the account of Xiongba Qingnan. With the money, he had the confidence, and the goods were quickly traded with Ed. Ed, who took the money, took out another basket of pancakes and looked at everyone with a faint expression. "Do you still want it? Ask for a hammer. It's so pitting, you can keep it for yourself." The 5 members of the Emperor Heaven Hegemony suddenly ran faster than rabbits, and disappeared in an instant. Lin Chen is also a black line. "Xiao Qin'er, all this money is for you." As soon as Ed turned his head, he gave Lin Chen all the coins, and then joined the battle and played mahjong with his friends. Lin Chen pondered and asked in a low voice, "What about changing to a rare profession? Those people have average qualifications, turn a fart." Ed didn't look at any of them. Tommy was speechless. The one who chooses the warrior is okay, at least the strength and physical strength are full value, and the guy who plans to become a mage is called a trash. The pastor is not bad, but he is a little less intelligent. "I think we can leave the transfer to Xiao Qin'er, and I still have to play mahjong." This was said by Charity. As soon as he finished speaking, the other 11 people stopped their movements. Ed was inexplicable. "I said something wrong." "You're right." Tommy narrowed his eyes and said, "There should be more and more players here in the future, otherwise Xiao Qin'er will do us a favor and we will give the money. 500 for one person, absolutely not to treat you badly." Ed added. So, Lin Chen tearfully accepted 6,000 gold coins, plus the money from selling cakes before. This time the income was a total of 8,500 gold coins. In the hat in Lin Chen's cloakroom, in addition to the yellow exclamation mark, there was another transfer instructor. After regaining the title of transfer instructor on his head, Lin Chen swaggered back to his small house. She quickly made 20 pieces of bread, then set up a stall and sat on the side of the road with a smile on her face. Wait for the next wave of players to approach. You said that Xiongba Chengnan took a few people to the town of Odin. Is this? Jiang Nan stood at the door of the town and said with some sighs. To be honest, I really can't see anything special about this town. But the expansion does mention it. It is said that the terrifying Great Demon King once lived here. Therefore, this place is very important, not to mention, it is absolutely impossible to dominate the south of the city and come to such a remote place without a purpose. That's right, boss. Standing beside Jiang Nan is the first MT of the Jiangnan Guild with cold hands and smoke and rain. Let's go in and see, we've got a job here too. The only difference between Yenyu Jiangnan and Huangtian Hegemony is that Jiangnan has its own ideas. In terms of strategy, the top 10 guilds in the entire Huaxia district combined, it is estimated that none of them are as insidious as this old fox. Although the south of the city is known as a military advisor, it is nothing compared to Jiangnan. Although his little hands are cold and he doesn't quite know what his own president is thinking, he has one advantage, that is, he is obedient. The two walked into town. The inhabitants of the town. Something doesn't feel right. It's weird anyway. After taking 2 steps, Jiang Nan suddenly came back to his senses, and he finally knew where this weirdness came from. They have also passed through many small towns or cities before, but most of the NPCs in there don't care much about the player. But it's different in this town. The NPCs in the town looked at them with great enthusiasm. Just when Jiang Nan was in a daze, he was enthusiastically pulled in by the owner of the clothing store on the side of the street. We have some beautiful ready-to-wear here, but they are suitable for you, why don't you try it? Then give it a try. After wearing clothes, Jiang Nan was quite satisfied with his image, but when he paid, Jiang Nan cried. Similar to ready-to-wear, that is, only the appearance can be seen in the past, without adding any attributes. Let's say it's fashion, it's ugly. It's said to be equipment, but it has no attributes. This kind of clothing abounds in major cities, small towns, and novice villages, and is often sold for only 10 copper plates. But the owner of the clothing store in front of him actually placed 10 silver coins. What about your robbery? Is there such a pit? So Jiang Nan, a wealthy man, couldn't stand it and wanted to take off his clothes. As a result, I saw the owner of the clothing store looking at him with a smile, as if he would do something drastic once he took off his clothes. You're too expensive, I don't want it. Jiang Nan can only make his words clear. As soon as he finished speaking, he heard the clothing store owner holding a bullhorn in his hand and shouting at the residents of the whole street, he has no money, he can't even afford clothes. Pine. The shop next door suddenly closed. It's like there's a ripple effect. Several shops were closed as a result. The clothing store owner had a puzzled smile on his face. If it weren't for the fact that he couldn't fight ordinary NPCs, Jiang Nan would have done it a long time ago at this time. Eventually, he paid 10 silver coins to get away from the clothing store owner. As soon as he took 2 steps, he was stopped by the owner of the clothing store. He shuddered, a little scared. I gave the money and didn't let me go. Maybe it's going to kill people. It's level 10 now. Out of the protection of the novice village. After you die, you're going to lose level and experience. Unexpectedly, the owner of the clothing store said to him, you should be the players who are going to change jobs, right? The little hand was cold and hurriedly thanked, thank you. The two continued to walk forward for a distance, and really saw the transfer instructor. It was a white-haired Lori with a double ponytail, shaking her 2 white little feet, sitting on a chair and reading a book. On the table were some crooked melons and cracked date cakes, presumably used to satisfy hunger. What a poor little girl. That's it, it's still a transfer instructor. What about teasing me? The little hand was cold and looked at Jiang Nan beside him with a confused face. Boss, this is wrong. It stands to reason that there are 12 basic professions in this game, and each basic profession should have a mentor. What the hell are we encountering? Just one. I haven't made it clear what kind of career change it is. The corners of Jiang Nan's mouth slowly hooked. If you write the names of the 12 basic occupations, and then add the 3 words of transfer division. Jiang Nan didn't want to deal with it at all. The chance of getting a rare class is almost 0. However, this kind of occupation is not even indicated, and there is a yellow exclamation mark on the other party's head, which means that there is a task. How easy it is to change jobs. If you have to do a task to change jobs, then it is likely to be a rare task, and the reward may also be a rare class. Therefore, Jiang Nan quickly greeted him, "I want to buy cakes." Lin Chen nodded, "You can taste it." "Can you also taste it?" Jiang Nan didn't look at the price of the flatbread. It was nothing more than a small pastry made in the game, which was not worth a few dollars. He took 2 bites. The taste was hard to swallow, and in order not to hurt Lin Chen, a little girl, he endured it and didn't cry. But the expressions on his face were all tangled, no different from crying. As soon as he swallowed hard, he saw Lin Chen stretching out his white and tender paws at him. 500 gold coins, thank you. Poof. This familiar feeling, déjà vu. It's a pit. To be honest, Jiang Nan was frightened by Lin Chen and didn't come back to his senses for a long time. The white-haired little Lori in front of her crossed her waist and nodded at the stall with her slender arm. "Are you going to pay?" "You're robbing." The little hands that had just come out of the clothing store owner were cold, and they knew the mood of these NPCs too well. "Why is it just a piece of broken cake?" "Why do you say?" Lin Chen sneered, and suddenly his voice became louder. "He doesn't give money." An entire street of NPCs was a sensation. "Mother, The old man of the blacksmith shop rushed out with a mountain axe in his hand, and shouted angrily, "Which bastard doesn't give money?" Aunt Wang rushed out of the store with a rolling pin. "If you don't give money, don't think about passing through here if you don't give money." The owner of the clothing store walked out with a big horn. "Yo, isn't this the young man who planned to rob my store just now?" The little hands are cold. Not only the hands are cold, but the whole body is cold. I didn't say that. Jiang Nan's face was ugly, and he patiently took out 500 gold coins. "Now it's 600 gold. Lin Chen sat on the ground and raised the price. With the touching explosion rate of Ragnarok, the explosion rate of money is extremely low, and the only way to get gold coins is to charge money. 100 yuan is equal to a gold coin, and Tong Sua is not deceived. Another way is to collect it from the player's hand. The current market price is 95 yuan is equal to 1 gold coin, and it is not cheaper. Those who can take out 500 gold coins in one go must be people from large guilds. And it's high level. For this kind of local tyrant, Lin Chen was ruthless. Why is the price still rising? The cold hands are a temper tantrum. But as soon as he said this, he felt that he had been hasty. Because the NPCs of the whole street put down the work in your hands, towards the place where the double ponytail lorry is, slowly walked over. At this time, neither of them dared to talk nonsense. Jiang Nan paid honestly, but his face was gloomy and dripping. Lin Chen took the money, and then said with a faint expression, "There is a spider nest on the outskirts of the town, gouge out the eyes of the spider queen and bring them to me." "Who are you? Why are you?" The little hand was cold because it was very unpleasant to see this double ponytail lorry, but as soon as he opened his mouth, Jiang Nan next to him stepped on the instep of his foot. "This thing hurts and can't speak." Jiang Nan smiled and said, "Okay. This is the task." With that, he realized that he had taken on the task. The little hand was cold, and then he came back to his senses. "What about me?" Lin Chen was too lazy to take care of it. This may be a hidden class mission. Jiang Nan was so smart, he quickly guessed this, and took the little hand beside him and left coldly. "Both of you must eat bread." Lin Chen's voice suddenly appeared behind Jiang Nan. Jiang Nan glanced at the effect of the flatbread and walked over unhurriedly. "I want 10 cakes." Friendship price, 500 gold coins apiece, give money. Lin Chen quickly packed. I'm embarrassed to say. Originally, it was 500 gold coins each. It's because the starting price for you is sitting on the ground has become 600. Now I'm embarrassed to say that the original price is 500. However, Jiang Nan didn't have any expression on his face, bought the flatbread, and then left with his little hands cold. The town is not big, and soon Jiang Nan finds a spider's nest. However, his old enemy, the Emperor Tian's tyrant, is also here. The leader of the team is Xiongba Qingnan. At this time, the legendary gentle military master was angry. Ling Long, how many times have I said it, if you want to live with milk, if you really can't do it, change people. Also, Firmament, are you poisonous? Every time you step on that trap, can this copy be beaten? Oh, it turned out to be a copy. Jiang Nan said with a smile. Xiongba Qingnan turned his head and saw Jiang Nan's fox-like eyes, and he said angrily, you also have to complete this task, get out, we have it here. Boss, isn't this a copy? Anyone can go in, everyone is independent when they go in, we don't need to charter the venue. It's stupid to dominate the sky, said quickly. Isn't this demolition? Xiongba's face in the south of the city is ugly. Jiang Nan smiled, like an old fox, it's quite similar, this is your elite unit, is there a probability of changing to a special profession? What does it have to do with you? Xiongba Qingnan's face was very ugly, and after saying this, he turned his head and glanced at the other members behind him, what are you doing in a daze? Hurry in. Seeing everyone on the other side disappear, Jiang Nan immediately began to contact. I have to play a copy when I change jobs. That's a rare class. Just when Lin Chen was idly waiting for the player to arrive, an uninvited guest came to the store. The man was elegant and self-controlled, wearing a black patent leather bodysuit, with a noble and cold appearance, and a very good temperament, with a proper royal sister demeanor. The other party stepped on high heels and appeared in front of Lin Chen, bent down, and propped his hands on the stall. Lin Chen happened to see the surging and glanced down at his chest. Gone. Don't make the contrast too obvious. After making sure of the eyes, the other party is here to find fault. 500 flatbreads, do you want them? Lin Chen didn't panic at all. The beautiful sister straightened up, do you know who I am? Medium 2 disease. Yo. There really is no shortage of places. Seeing Lin Chen's strange eyes, the beautiful sister's face was a little ugly, I am the Spider Empress. After speaking, he looked at Lin Chen very arrogantly. A look of praising me, praising me. Lin Chen glanced at the words on the other party's head, Spider Empress, level 15. She immediately came back to her senses, and the young lady in front of her was actually the big boss of the spider's nest. It's the unlucky boss she arranged for others to gouge out people's eyes. Why did you come out? Lin Chen looked inexplicable, what should you do if you come out with a copy? There's a doppelganger. Don't change the topic for me, the Spider Empress stared at Lin Chen with an unhappy face, originally, I just had a very simple spider nest there, but now you have upgraded it to a copy, I will be killed every day in the future, I am not happy. Lin Chen understood that this woman had come here to complain. What's more, you've made this kind of pie. The Spider Empress said angrily, you should be the one with the highest management authority in the entire town, I ask to increase the level of the dungeon of the entire spider lair. Lin Chen nodded. Fair and reasonable. As a boss who often dies, it is easy to get depressed and suffer from depression. That's not good. So with a wave of her hand, the spider's lair copy was upgraded. At the same time, all NPCs in Ragnarok who are lower level than her receive a similar prompt, the spider's lair quest is open, do you choose to enter? This counts as giving quests to NPCs. There are rewards. NPCs can teleport to dungeons and act as bosses. It not only increases the difficulty of the spider's lair, but also prevents an NPC from killing and injuring too many times. Best of both worlds. What Lin Chen didn't expect was that she made a casual move, but she was approved by G-Brain. Next, the entire Ragnarok was upgraded again. Next, the system will carry out a wave of online upgrade and maintenance of the entire game, please be prepared. After receiving this satisfactory reply, the Spider Queen was satisfied, then I will also go back to make money, goodbye. It seems that Brain has changed all the copies to open copies. The NPC interface has changed. After the system maintenance is completed, the NPC interface has changed, please be mentally prepared for the majority of NPCs. Lin Chen found that in the lower right corner of his interface, there was an extra button for the dungeon hall. Once opened, you will be able to see the open dungeon based on the current highest player level. There are currently level 10 and level 15 dungeons open. At the same level, in addition to the public dungeon, there are several hidden dungeons, as well as treasure map dungeons. However, these dungeons have not yet been developed, so they are all in a gloomy state. The public quests at levels 10 and 15 are the City of Machines and the Temple Labyrinth, respectively. There is a hidden dungeon at level 15, the Spider's Lair, which is also lit up. Lin Chen clicked on the Spider's Lair, and saw a button to enter, and the help content on the interface said that NPCs could enter and randomly play a monster character in the dungeon. Different tasks will be issued, and the rewards will be judged according to the task rating. It's also good. Lin Chen simply bought a puppet NPC from the GM Mall, and after making dozens of flatbreads, he rubbed his hands and prepared to enter the dungeon. This puppet NPC can help Lin Chen sell flatbread when she leaves, and can also fool more people into entering the Spider's Lair. Lin Chen put the hat of the transfer mentor on the puppet NPC's body. Next, click on the Spider's Lair screen to enter the dungeon. A large golden disc appeared in front of Lin Chen, rotating rapidly, and finally the pointer rested on the Spider Empress. Congratulations to Lin Chen for entering the dungeon. With the prompt of G-Brain, Lin Chen felt a flower in front of her, and then, she found herself in the spider's nest. She glanced at her attributes. Name, Lin Chen. Class, Spider Queen. Strength, 277, plus 100 for the Spider Queen herself. Stamina, 280, Spider Queen herself plus 100. Intelligence, 322, plus 100 for the Spider Queen herself. Dexterity, 188, Spider Queen herself plus 100. Skills. Silk Entanglement, binds the target, dealing 120% of its own magic damage, followed by poisoning it with 3% magic damage per second. Summoning Little Brother, you can summon 500 spiders to attack, and will summon them once whenever your HP drops to 70%, 50%, or 20%. A spider's attack is equal to 1% of its own magic damage. Skills are these two. But it's also awesome. Each NPC enters the spider's lair, coupled with the attributes of the Spider Queen itself, which is already very perverted. Lin Chen noticed that the spider nest he had entered had become catastrophic. Each dungeon is hierarchical, normal, elite, epic, master, calamity. Spell damage and intelligence are equal, generally speaking, 1 point of intelligence is equivalent to 5 points of spell damage, 1 point of stamina is equivalent to 5 points of health, 1 point of strength is equivalent to 5 points of attack, and 1 point of agility is equivalent to 3 points of evasion. Of course, this is just a normal situation, and if it is a hidden class, there will be other bonuses. For example, in some hidden classes, agility will add attack. Now Lin Chen's spell damage is 1610, and it is estimated that few players can withstand this attribute. Is this a loneliness? How bold a person is, how big an idea is. There are people who choose disaster-grade replicas. Everyone is an old fritter who has been playing the game for so many years, and who doesn't know that the higher the difficulty level of the dungeon, the better the rewards will be. Jiang Nan chose the highest level copy. This is a level 15 dungeon, Spider's Lair. The limited number of people is 10 people. In addition to the cold hands of the signature MT, Jiang Nan also called all the ones with the highest attacks in the guild. However, this spider lair has a very perverted debuff inside. That is, anyone who enters the spider's lair will lose blood from the moment they step into the dungeon. Persistent bleeding. Spider toxin, loses 500 HP per second. This is the level of spider toxin health loss in Calamity quests. If it's a normal level, only 100 HP will be lost. And this 100 can be offset with a flatbread. The loaves have a poison resistance of 100. What makes Jiang Nan most depressed is that eating one piece of this big cake is useless in this kind of dungeon, and in that level dungeon, the toxin blood loss is 500 per second. If you only have one loaf of bread, it will become 400 per second. If they want to enter this dungeon, they must buy 5 flatbreads and eat them full. Each flatbread can be stacked up to 5 times. What a profiteer. Of course, they can also just fight the normal ones. It seems that the choice of Xiongba Qingnan is ordinary. But Jiang Nan doesn't allow himself to only clear the ordinary spider's nest. This is a hidden dungeon, and the rewards are definitely particularly rich. To complete it, complete the hardest catastrophic level. He simply called for a great god. This god is the assassin who ranked first in the whole server in the last game, extremely coquettish in position, and this person's understanding of the game is also extraordinary, always able to see where others can't. Others didn't know, but he knew very well that this legendary level god was a woman. A phone call from Jiang Nan was made. It was the other party's private phone, and it didn't take long for a nice voice to ring on the phone. What's the matter? Please do me a favor. Jiang Nan quickly explained his needs. The other party agreed. The money will be on my account first. Jiang Nan couldn't cry or laugh, it was still that style. The deposit is 50,000, and 100,000 will be made up after the copy is passed, and this woman's mind is extremely careful, and every time she finishes a copy, she will make a detailed strategy for a certain copy. When the time comes, it will be a lot of money to buy the raiders. But it's worth it. Because the purchase strategy is generally a buyout, which means that from now on, this copy can only be passed by those who are in the south of their rainy Jiangnan. Keep in mind that after this quest, it is possible to obtain a hidden class. Hidden professions. The more things at this level of legend, the better. And how can anyone dislike it? The call is done, hurry up and call the others. Jiang Nan ordered to go down. Half an hour later, the people in Yenyu Jiangnan finally gathered. In addition to the 8 people they had provided for themselves, the great god brought a younger brother over. The game ID of the great god in Ragnarok is Xia Mo Yenyu, and she also brought a follower called Rose Cold Moon. Judging by the other party's prefix, it should be the one with a sonorous rose. Sonorous Rose, the only women's guild among the top 10 guilds in Huaxiao. It is said that all of them are made up of female members. Xia Mo Yenyu has always been alone. How could you be with the people of the Sonorous Roses this time? Could it be that you have joined the Sonorous Roses? Jiang Nan smiled when he saw Xia Mo Yenyu. Our ranking is much higher than that of Sonorous Rose, otherwise, how about you join my guild? Do you have any money? Xia Mo Yenyu asked rhetorically. Jiang Nan laughed. Do you think I look like a person with no money? The little hand was cold and whispered to the side, does anyone still question the financial strength of my guild leader? Jiang Nan glared coldly in his direction. The little hands were cold and quiet. How much money will the Sonorous Rose give you? I will give you double. Jiang Nan looked at Xia Mo Yenyu with a smile. Unexpectedly, Xia Mo Yenyu didn't pay attention to him at all, and said indifferently, didn't you say that you want to go to the next copy? It's a topic that can't be discussed. Jiang Nan was not angry, and looked at Xia Mo Yenyu with a smile, okay. Among the people brought by Jiang Nan this time, there are cold little hands, MT, a queen of heaven, healing, a little bit of love, mage, a dream for 2 or 3 years, swordsman, sunset, warrior, and a kick in the door, mage. In addition, Jiang Nan is also a warrior himself, but these people are people with special attributes and the possibility of obtaining hidden professions when changing jobs. They haven't changed jobs yet, and although they have skills, they are all primary skills that burst out from primary monsters. Xia Mo Yenyu was a little disgusted, no wonder you can't beat the copy. Among these people brought by Jiang Nan, not all of them recognized Xia Mo Yenyu. After all, not everyone has played the last large-scale holographic online game. As soon as she said this, she suddenly became unhappy with a little liking. How do you talk? Although we haven't changed jobs, we may have hidden careers after we change jobs. Do you know what a hidden career is? Even if you're a great god and not a hidden profession, what's the use? As soon as she finished saying this, Xia Mo Yenyu revealed her personal information. Summer Smoke and Rain is a hidden profession. Is an assassin-type hidden class. It's called the Phantom. Not to be outdone, Rose Lingyu showed her attribute panel. She is also a hidden profession called the Holy Doctor. It should be the treatment type, and it's the kind of big. 2 hidden classes. A great assassin, a great healer. Jiang Nan's eyes turned green. I can't wait to get both of them in my pocket. But now it is possible that they have joined the sonorous roses. And the great god is now not in oil and salt. No matter what you say, it is estimated that the other party will not listen. A little bit of like is completely dumb fire, and there is a probability of becoming a hidden profession and having become a hidden profession, which is not the same. He had to admit that in Xia Moyenyu's eyes, he was a piece of garbage. It's heart-wrenching. There is no difference between having self-knowledge and suddenly realizing it. No matter what his subordinates thought, Jiang Nan waved his hand, enter the dungeon. They chose the catastrophic ones. As soon as the 10 people entered the dungeon, after a brief white light, they came to a dark lair. Rose Lingyu waved her hand, and a halo appeared under everyone's feet. Heal buff, regenerate 30 HP per second. Duration is 1 hour. The duration of the quest is 12 hours, as long as they clear the quest within 12 hours. The little hands were cold and bared their teeth. It's better than nothing. After Rose Lingyu used this skill, she thought that everyone would praise her, but she didn't expect the people brought by Jiang Nan to be so uninteresting. If you don't want it, I'll withdraw it now. How do you speak? Jiang Nan turned his head angrily and glanced at the cold little hand, and hurriedly said to the little beauty, I think it's very good. This skill is simply a magic skill, and it can definitely continue to be upgraded in the future, right? Of course, it's only a first-order effect. Rose Lingyu said lightly, I have other skills. You must know that the average attribute physical strength of players is about 40 now, and some talented people may reach 70. It's the full value of 20 at the beginning, and when you get 5 attribute points every time you upgrade to a level, you will smash all those 5 attribute points on your physical strength. Stamina multiplied by 5 is HP, even if it is 70 HP, the maximum is only 350 HP. Being able to heal 30 per second is already an exaggeration. You must know that they will have difficulty in their own healing days, and the primary healing technique will only be able to increase the person's HP by 50 points, and there will be CD time. With such a continuous buff, it's just too rebellious. But the little hands are cold, and there is a reason for that. At this time they are standing in the safe zone of the dungeon, and if they go out of this safe zone, they will get a debuff from the spider's nest. Lose 500 HP per second. What does this mean? This means that even the meatiest of them can be played in a second. My subordinate is telling the truth, little beauty, don't stare at me. As soon as Jiang Nan's voice fell, he was glared at by Rose Lingyu. There is a very perverted debuff in this spider nest, and it is the kind that cannot be removed. As long as you stay in the dungeon, it will appear, and you will lose 500 points of blood per second. Xia Mo Yenyu frowned, do you have anything to resist poison? Yes, yes. Jiang Nan hurriedly took out 5 ugly flatbreads, some were burned black, some were like stones, and some were not round at all, looking crooked melons and cracked dates. Each flatbread can provide 100 points of poison resistance, you can eat 5 pieces, you can stack up to 5, let's divide 1 point. Jiang Nan looked at the person in front of him with a smile and quickly divided the pie. Xia Mo Yenyu's face is much better. But now it's all empty, and after Xia Mo Yenyu took a bite of this big cake, his face became ugly. What the is this? It's so unpalatable. Is this done by people? Jiang Nan's face turned bitter, no way, this is the characteristic of this kind of flatbread, just bear with it. Although Xia Mo kept complaining, his face was light. Rose Lingyue's facial features were wrinkled together, and she also found that even if she turned down her senses, she could still taste the taste. This is also a unique player experience in Ragnarok, even with the sensory value turned to the lowest so that the player does not feel the pain of death. When you taste the food, you can still taste the most delicious taste, giving people the ultimate senses. Of course, the same is true when it comes to tasting unpalatable food. As soon as the 10 people brought by Yenyu Jiangnan entered the dungeon, Lin Chen felt it. This spider nest is a ring-shaped nest where spiders of all sizes can be seen everywhere. And she, the spider empress, can roam around the spider's lair. She pretended to be casual and passed in front of them in Jiangnan. Those people in Jiangnan are eating unpalatable flatbreads, and they must eat every flatbread before they can obtain the attributes of flatbread, and they can't be finished with a bite. The process was so difficult that everyone drank 2 bottles of water while eating the flatbread. It's extremely uncomfortable. Just when a few people in Jiangnan were about to choke to death after eating, they suddenly saw the Spider Queen when they turned around. Gongnam. Xia Mo Yenyu. Lin Chen naturally saw them too, and it was really relieved to see those people who loved the delicious food they made so much. So Lin Chen didn't say a word, and came towards them with a spider silk entanglement. It's a pity that all those people are in the safe zone. Although the spider silk coil did not damage them, the effect was still there. A large pile of white spider silk wrapped around several people, and the queen of that station was a little girl with a delicate stomach. Seeing so many spider silk wrapped around her face, she was shocked at first, and then vomited. Originally, the safe zone was a very small place, and it was not easy for 10 people to squat there and eat bread. As a result, the queen of that station vomited, and Jiang Nan almost vomited. Lin Chen thought in his heart, it was a pity that it was actually a safe zone. Otherwise, this spider silk entanglement would definitely kill 10 of them instantly. I don't know if I will get a reward for killing players in a dungeon. It's beautiful to think about. Lin Chen knew that if he continued to stay here, these people would definitely not dare to come out, so he pretended to be casual and passed in front of those people. It wasn't until Lin Chen couldn't see a trace that Xia Mo Yenyu pulled the spider silk on his body and asked with a difficult face, will this thing wander around? Jiang Nan doesn't know either. They did do some exploration of the catastrophic spider nest before. But before their ability, they could only fight small spiders on the periphery, but they had never seen the spider empress. Shouldn't the spider queen stay in the depths of the quest waiting for the player to explore? How could it pop up out of nowhere? What about making ghost movies, what is this? Xia Mo Yenyu immediately saw what Jiang Nan was thinking, and said with an ugly expression, if the spider empress will run out and wander around any time and anywhere, and you have also seen it, she is an active attack monster, even if we stay in the safe zone, it will cause her hatred. I don't think we'll be able to beat this dungeon. The great god's analysis is very reasonable. But Jiang Nan is a stubborn temper. It's best not to give up lightly when we come in. Jiang Nan still wanted to struggle. If we pass, it's a disaster level copy, and we will definitely be able to get a hidden profession. Xia Mo Yenyu nodded, yes, you can try it, but if that spider empress is really the type to wander around, the probability of us passing the dungeon is very low, I have to tell you in advance. Jiangnan understands this. The rest of the people in Yenyu Jiangnan also understand. Why are they so unlucky? I knew that this was the case, so I went to play the ordinary dungeon. After eating 5 flatbreads, under the command of Xia Mo Yenyu, they officially stepped into the spider's nest. Lin Chen was observing them from behind the rockery, and saw that they began to pull the monsters one by one to kill, and the corners of his mouth showed a playful smile. This spider's lair is worthy of a disaster-level dungeon, even if it is a mob, each one has a very high attack power. The 10 people were in a hurry at first, but under the command of Xia Mo Yenyu, they quickly calmed down. What surprised Lin Chen the most was that she originally thought that the one who pulled the monster should have cold little hands. After all, the cold attribute of the small hand is special, and as an NPC, he can also see it. But she never thought that the person she used to pull the monster turned out to be Xia Mo Yenyu. Assassins are generally quite crispy, and Xia Mo Yenyu can be used as a monster because she is a special class, Phantom. Phantom has a special feature that the dodge is particularly high, the requirements for body style and movement are also particularly high, and the agility of this class is to attack. Xia Mo Yenyu has an elegant figure, and he didn't let the mob touch a corner of his clothes, and he can also firmly control his DPS, damage output per second. After all, Xiao Hand is cold as an MT who has not been transferred, not to mention that when he was adding points, he also added a lot of strength to himself, plus 5 flatbreads also provided a lot of strength. Therefore, sometimes there is no way to control the cold hands of the OT, hatred is out of control, but fortunately, there are 2 treatments in this team, especially the Rose Cold Moon, with a wave of the little hand, the milk immediately bursts. At this time, Xia Mo Yenyu can always control the hatred back, from the body, from the understanding of the game, from the control of damage, Xia Mo Yenyu deserves to be the top 10 in the game. But Lin Chen always had itchy hands and wanted to do things. There are 156 spider nest mobs. Among them, there are 20 most garbage mobs, 100 elite mobs, and 56 lord-level mobs. Finally, there's the Spider Queen. The equipment on these people is all green, and like Jiang Nan, who has cold hands, they all have blue equipment on their bodies. It's only 1 or 2, but it's not bad. You have to know how long it has only been open at this time. The equipment in Xia Mo Yenyu's hand is also blue, but Rose Lingyue's body is full of green equipment. They had a great time beating the first 20 mobs, and it took them a long time to kill one. I don't know what will happen next. As a board boss, Lin Chen also made an onlooker and passed by them. Gangnam. Xia Mo Yenyu had a black line, why did this thing come out again? Seeing Lin Chen at the door, he was very excited, and he didn't hold back, and a small fireball was thrown at Lin Chen's body. A big miss appeared on Lin Chen's head. Ouch, hey. Didn't fight. He raised his hand and it was a slap of spider silk. Before Xia Mo Yenyu could say anything, he was gone directly with a kick in the door. Back off. Xia Mo Yenyu's face changed, this guy was originally taking the initiative to attack monsters, since we entered the dungeon to fight monsters, she didn't shoot directly, how can you still hit her? Xia Mo Yenyu spoke quickly. That's the benefit of holographic games. Even if you speak in dialect, there will be a line of subtitles at the bottom, which will be automatically translated by AI. Communicate with each other directly with your mouth, no need to turn on the voice device again, this is the previous game, so many words, just typing is enough to choke. Although Xia Mo Yenyu had already analyzed the pros and cons in an instant, they could not escape the evil taste of Lin Chen. Lin Chen sent them all back this time. Because she tasted the sweetness. You kill the knock kick and gain intelligence +1. You killed Xia Mo Yenyu and gained agility +5. You killed the little hand cold, gained stamina +2. After killing a wave of players, Lin Chen's attributes have become. Name, Lin Chen. Class, NPC, Spider Queen. Strength, 288, Spider Queen stat plus 100. Stamina, 289, Spider Queen attribute plus 100. Intelligence, 329, Spider Queen stat plus 100. Dexterity, 197, Spider Queen stat plus 100. It's great. Lin Chen's shortcoming is agility. She found an issue where when she kills a hidden class, or a player with a higher stat, the stats she gains are usually the strengths of the opponent. It's just not too cool. The highest thing in this summer is agility, and every time you kill her, you can get agility attributes. Be sure to kill a few more times. 10 people return to the safe zone. Xia Mo Yenyu gritted her teeth and turned her head to look at Lin Men. Why did you suddenly fight the boss just now? That's the boss, do you think it's an NPC? I knew it was my own mistake when I kicked the door, but I was just unhappy, especially when I was trained by a woman like Xia Mo Yenyu, and I was even more unhappy. What you said is funny, even if I don't beat her, do you think that boss will let us go? A few people were about to quarrel when they saw it. Jiang Nan only felt a headache. Don't make any noise, let's think about how to play a copy. How else can you fight? Xia Mo Yenyu suddenly became angry. Didn't you see that guy outside? Jiang Nan turned back. I found that the boss Spider Empress was looking at them with fierce eyes. A pair of eyes full of inquiry. Is this still a chicken? Can anyone tell me why the most awesome boss doesn't honestly stay in his lair and run out for a stroll? Forget about wandering, it's still an active attacking monster. Rose Lingyu suddenly said with a crying voice, how has my intelligence decreased? What? Jiang Nan didn't come back to his senses. Xia Mo Yenyu quickly glanced at his attribute panel, and without saying a word, he withdrew from the dungeon with the rose-cold moon. Boss, seeing that Rose Lingyue and Xia Mo Yenyu were gone, the little hand was cold and asked with a confused face, what do these two girls mean? Lin Men snorted coldly, two women who don't understand anything, and they are still pretending to be gods, and they are also in the top 10 in Huaxia district. I don't know if I poured any ecstasy soup into the boss. As soon as the words fell, he was slapped hard by Jiang Nan at the door. The little hand was cold, and then he realized it and said, Boss, I don't feel right, are we having a bug? Jiang Nan was stunned. Only then did I realize the seriousness of the matter. He was a little hesitant, and at this moment, Lin Chen came to the direction of the safe zone with a twist of spider silk. Still didn't do any damage. Boring. Lin Chen turned his head and left. Seeing that this boss was gone, Jiang Nan received a message from Xia Mo Yenyu, exit the dungeon and re-enter, this boss kills us once, and we have a debuff on us, which reduces attributes, and it will be gone when it comes out. Jiang Nan will be skeptical. But he did it anyway. When they went out and came back in, the reduced attributes on their bodies came back. This made Jiang Nan breathe a sigh of relief. As long as they don't reopen the quest, the duration of the quest is generally 12 hours, and during this time, they just need to clear the quest. It's not that hard to say. Let's find out what is the reason for the boss attacking people this time. It can't be who is pregnant, right? Xia Mo Yenyu said with a depressed face, we still have to reflect it to the official. Jiang Nan nodded. Start writing complaints right away. Their complaint has just been sent out. Lin Chen got a hint from Ji Brain here. Ding dong, dear host, the level 15 Spider Empress does not have the ability to actively attack, so if you want to attack the player in the future, please find a reasonable reason first. They must have beaten me. Lin Chen asked rhetorically. Ding dong, dear host, when you feel that you are being ridiculed, attacked, provoked, angry, or all kinds of negative emotions, you can use this as a reason to attack the other person, but not otherwise. Okay. After Jiang Nan complained, he quickly got an official reply, and the official sincerely said that there could be no active attack boss at level 15. Not even a catastrophic replica. Turn on the recording function. Xia Mo Yenyu said to the others, if we find evidence and submit it to the official, we can also get a lot of compensation. Jiang Nan's eyes lit up. That's right. Ragnarok was originally a game made by Brain, and one of the notable features is that they claim to have no bugs. But if the bug is recorded by them and sent to the company's headquarters, they will definitely be compensated. It's also a good idea. Jiang Nan immediately ordered someone to turn on all the video functions, and then entered the spider's lair copy. Everything is safe. They had killed 20 of the most trash mobs before. It's also an empty place, and you can't see any mobs or bosses. Next, they'll have to face elite-level mobs. These mobs are more difficult to deal with than the previous 20 garbage mobs. However, when they began to clear the monsters, they found that the random wandering boss just now, the Spider Queen, appeared in front of them again. Gangnam. Sister, don't be so scary. Lin Chen looked at a few people with a smile and didn't move. But the domineering aura of this Spider Empress has already made Yenyu Jiangnan, and several people tremble. This time, they learned a lesson and definitely didn't take a shot at Lin Chen easily. But being stared at like this by a boss all the time, I'm still a little uncomfortable. It's pretty bald. Lin Chen watched it for a long time, when everyone felt that the cold hair was about to stand up, and even Xia Mo Yenyu made a mistake several times. She finally spoke, what's the most memorable place you've ever visited with your partner? Gangnam. Xia Mo Yenyu. Rose Cold Moon, beautiful Phoenix ancient city. The answer is incorrect. Lin Chen's expression was faint, and as soon as he raised his hand, the rose cold moon was gone. She didn't kill each other for no reason. Because Rose Lingyue answered the question wrong, she killed the other party. Rose Cold Moon. Boom. You killed Rose Cold Moon, intelligence +2. It's great. Xia Mo Yenyu scalp tight. Saw Lin Chen start the countdown, 5, 4. Now everyone understands that if they don't answer the questions, they will be done. However, when Lin Chen read 3, he did it. You killed Jiangnan, strength +3. You killed the little hand cold, and the physical strength is increased by 4. You killed Xia Mo Yenyu, agility +5. Another wave. Lin Chen's attribute value has become. Name, Lin Chen. Class, NPC, Spider Queen. Strength, 296, Spider Queen bonus +100. Stamina, 298, Spider Queen bonus +100. Intelligence, 333, Spider Queen bonus +100. Dexterity, Charlie, Spider Queen bonus +100. It's great. Safe zone. Jiangnan and Xia Mo looked at each other. Even the #1 assassin in the previous game was instigated, otherwise, you will have to fight an ordinary copy. This catastrophic copy boss is a pervert. The person didn't answer that question wrong at all, why kill people? I happened to see Lin Chen, the wandering boss, running to the safe area to watch them. Rose Lingyue simply asked, what is the correct answer to the question? There is no right answer. Lin Chen really replied, it's just that none of you answered the answer I thought. What's your answer? Jiang Nan was a little puzzled, and after saying this, he suddenly felt that his brain was in water. What kind of strength did he have with an NPC? Beautiful grove. The question is what? What's the best place to visit with your partner? Rose Lingyu stomped her feet. What kind of tourist attraction is the grove? However, all the male players, including Jiangnan's place, blushed in the face. The groove. This boss has a broken leg. It can't be done. Xia Mo Yenyu is served, and he can actually encounter this kind of wonder. If you can't answer a question, you will be beaten. MMP. Jiangnan's face was ugly. He didn't say anything, and took someone out of the copy first. Happen to meet the person who was the emperor and the tyrant. Both groups of people are disgraced. Xiongba Qingnan chose to be ordinary, mainly because the configuration on their side is not very good. If they choose the disaster level as soon as they come up, if they can't pass the level at that time, how ugly it is. But even if it's ordinary, it's a disgusting batch. Until now, it hasn't been hit. The two groups of people originally had a grudge, and when they met, they all looked like black-eyed chickens with red faces, and they felt like they were going to fight. But he didn't say anything. Mechanical entry copies. Originally, Jiangnan really didn't want to brush it. The catastrophic copy is a bit perverted. Otherwise, you will have to change to another level. But when I just went out, I met someone who was the emperor and overlord, and I couldn't bear it. Although the two parties didn't say anything, Jiangnan always felt uncomfortable. He must fight this copy, and if he doesn't fight it, he can't tell how the bastards of the Emperor Tianba will laugh at him. Xia Mo Yenyu suddenly felt bad when he saw the people who came to dominate the industry, and sure enough, Jiangnan just now was still a little bit of IQ, and now Jiangnan is like a madman. The kind of person who doesn't want to sleep if you don't get this copy over. There's still a chance to go, if you want to take this copy. After entering the dungeon, Xia Mo Yenyu sighed and said with a faint expression. Jiangnan was already thinking about how to get through the copy. Suddenly hearing Xia Mo Yenyu's words, his eyes widened. Really? Of course, I don't look at who I am. My profession has a skill that can only be used once a day, and after using it, my agility will reach a peak, and with my body style, maybe, I can give it a try. Xia Mo Yenyu pondered for a while, and said softly, but I need 2 treatments to give me milk, and the rest of you, just stand aside and wait. When Xia Mo Yenyu proposed the method, no one spoke, and even her little hands were cold, and she looked at her with a look of adoration. But when she said the faces of several people changed. Yimeng is a swordsman who doesn't like to talk much, and he knows that he hasn't changed classes yet, and in this case, his contribution to the team is not high. But Xia Mo Yenyu's words just now obviously didn't take them all into account. What do you mean by that? Said after 2 or 3 years of unhappiness, aren't we human? You can try. Xia Mo Yenyu had a headache and said expressionlessly. One dream for 2 or 3 years, snorted coldly and did not speak. Jiangnan only felt that his head was big. Don't make any noise, then let you try. After all, it was hired for money, and the old fox didn't feel distressed at all. Xia Mo Yenyu nodded and glanced back at the rose-cold moon. Rose Lingyue immediately patted her chest and said, Don't worry, I will definitely milk you. Jiangnan glanced at Xia Mo Yenyu and then at Rose Lingyue, and suddenly remembered a legend that this great god is said to have a quirk. I just like girls. Especially the cute one. This Rose Lingyue is petite and small, and she looks very cute, so the two of them shouldn't be that kind of relationship, right? Jiangnan shook his head and shook these unrealistic ideas out of his head. How could he be so cranky? It's already very good for the great god to be able to help him out of his busy schedule. What does he want to do so much? Just when Jiangnan was thinking wildly, he saw that Xia Mo Yenyu and Rose Lingyue had already walked out, and the queen of that station hurriedly followed. Although her milk supply is insufficient, but, in this case, one counts as one, and that's fine. Lin Chen was already waiting at the door of the security zone. Several people finished discussing. She thought they were going to continue to clear the mobs, and she was thinking about what excuse to use to do it. Suddenly, the assassin with high agility moved his hand on her. Lin Chen. It's not scientific. It stands to reason that these players should be very scared of her. How can they do it? And Lin Chen quickly felt that after this Xia Mo Yenyu activated a skill, the whole person became very different. She threw out the spider silk, but was dodged by Xia Mo Yenyu's technique, and Xia Mo Yenyu held a hidden weapon in her hand and threw it in her direction. Originally, she thought she could dodge. After all, she was the boss, and the dodge was still quite high. Unexpectedly, a big -23 still appeared in his head. Something, young lady. You managed to get my attention. -17. -23. -1. -11. -31. Critical hit. A series of floating numbers appeared on Lin Chen's head. And Xia Mo Yenyu is as flexible as a flower butterfly. Under the bombardment of Lin Chen's skills, he can be safe and sound, and every step is as if he has stepped on the tip of a knife. To be honest, Lin Chen still appreciates it. However, she is also trying her best to hit Xia Mo Yenyu. It's just that the other party's position is too sassy, and every step is appropriate. It lasted like this for about half an hour, and Xia Mo was covered with sweat. Lin Chen was still concentrating on losing skills at first, but later he became lazy, and his accuracy was not as good as before, and he felt like he was releasing water. In fact, Lin Chen really wanted to release the water. The female assassin in front of him was really too coquettish. It's a little similar to the #1 assassin she met in the last holographic online game that swept the world before she became an NPC. Maybe the two really have something to do with each other. Because the #1 assassin Lin Chen knew at the beginning seemed to be a man. Of course, the main reason is that no one has ever seen what the first assassin looks like, because most of the time, the other party is wearing a black turban, and it is not clear what he looks like. Lin Chen also automatically regarded the other party as a man. Because she never believed that someone with such skills could be a young lady. Unlikely. Therefore, Lin Chen had a sympathetic thought, this young lady can practice the position so superbly, and I don't know how much suffering she has suffered. Girls, there's a special treatment in the game, that's understandable. But a beautiful girl, in the game, as long as she can't keep her loneliness and can't withstand the temptation, even if it's only once, then a beautiful girl can't live like this. Xia Mo Yenyu's current appearance should have been won by herself. She is an NPC, she can see more. This Xia Mo Yenyu has no guild, and most of the equipment on her body is played by herself, because there is a specific drop location on it. And it's still a special profession, which is really not easy. Obviously able to rely on face. But it depends on technology. This kind of person is quite awesome. Lin Chen had the thought of loving talents, so he didn't press forward step by step. Not. Though. It is impossible to clear customs. Players are rewarded for killing quest bosses, and NPCs also have hard quest metrics when playing quest bosses. The duration of the spider's nest is 12 hours, and the longer Lin Chen survives in this dungeon, the better the reward. The more players you kill, the better the reward. The more aggro the player pulls, the better the reward. Therefore, it was impossible for Lin Chen to let Xia Mo smoke and rain through. Xia Moyenyu's ghostly body style made Jiangnan extremely admired. In the Yenyu Jiangnan Guild, those who had mocked Xia Mo Yenyu before all shut up. This great god is really capable. It is worthy that Jiangnan spent money to invite from other places. They don't really have the ability to do that themselves. Lin Chen's blood volume soon reached the 70% mark. At this moment, a thick shield suddenly floated on her body, and this shield was calculated based on 50% of her total HP. Then she beckoned, and many white spider eggs suddenly appeared on the ground. As she chanted, cracks soon appeared in the spider eggs, and it wasn't long before a bunch of small spiders crawled out of the eggs. Wave your hand casually. 500 treasures for one child. Each is the size of a fist. Don't look small, but their attack is equivalent to the attack power of the ordinary mobs that the gang in Jiangnan fought before. There were also a few little spiders that were relatively close to Lin Chen, and after they came out, they directly entered Lin Chen's body. Lin Chen's blood volume was full all of a sudden. The appearance of the little spider was something that Rose Cold Moon never expected. None of them knew how to identify the arts, and there was no way to identify what Lin Chen's monster looked like. Naturally, there was no way to know what skills Lin Chen had. And Lin Chen only used the skill of spider silk entanglement before, and he didn't use this skill to recruit the younger brother. Who would have thought that this guy, 70% of his HP, would suddenly recruit so many little brothers? It's a hit. No matter how awesome Xia Moyanyu's body technique is, it can't withstand this spider sea tactic. 3 times 5 divided by 2, he was bitten to death. Congratulations on killing Xia Moyanyu, agility +5. It's very nice. 2 treatments were not spared. Congratulations on killing Rose Cold Moon, and your intelligence is increased by 5. Congratulations on killing that station queen, intelligence +3. Xia Moyanyu was resurrected in the safe zone, his face became ugly, and his attributes were lowered again. She shook her head, Jiang Nan, otherwise you can change the level of the dungeon, I can't help this. What is it like to go from heaven to hell? Just now, Jiang Nan really experienced it. Seeing Xia Moyanyu grinding off the boss's bloody skin little by little, he was quite excited, and thought that he would definitely be able to kill the boss this time. Just kill this damn spider queen, wouldn't the rest be easy? But what he didn't expect was. In the end, it didn't kill the thing. This thing is so perverted. Jiang Nan nodded with a stern expression, you all have recorded the screen, right? I asked the official to lower the difficulty for me. The little hand was cold and inexplicable, boss, this is not good. This is obviously our lack of strength. Isn't strong enough, why don't you say this thing is too perverted? Jiang Nan rolled his eyes angrily, even if it's really our lack of strength, but he's not wrong to set the game like this. The little hands are cold and can only do it. This copy can't be beaten, and in the end they can only choose to leave, it's a big deal to open a new one, and the low level is better than this catastrophic level 1, right? Jiang Nan looked at Xia Moyanyu with a blank eye, I asked you to come over and help me get over the copy, let's play epic next, you have to take us through, don't run away halfway. Xia Moyanyu waved his hand, I know. Even though the 10 people were unwilling, they had no choice but to leave the dungeon. Players have left the dungeon and are counting the rewards earned by NPCs. Lin Chen found that the 2 Spider Empress guards standing not far from her had a pale golden light on their bodies. It turns out that these 2 are also NPCs pretending. It's just that they haven't shown it all along. Ding dong, the host has completed the copy of the spider's nest, the completion level of the copy is perfect, and the score is the highest, do you leave a puppet image? The sudden prompt made Lin Chen stunned, puppet image? Golem images will have all your strength. Stay in the catastrophic spider's lair forever, and at the same time, you will be permanently divided into 50% of the reward, which will be converted into gold coins for settlement. Seems to be pretty good. Lin Chen nodded, then generate. Okay, it's generated, please claim the quest reward. A flickering red gift bag appeared in front of Lin Chen. She barely thought about it, and hugged the big red gift bag in her arms. At this moment, she found herself in her little house again. It's still the princess bed. The people who sell flatbread outside are also puppets, and they don't delay anything, so Lin Chen can do what he wants. She opened the big red bag. Congratulations to the host for getting the gear. Ji Brain said softly in Lin Chen's ear. Finally got the equipment. Lin Chen was wearing a costume issued by the system, which could only change his external image, but he had no attributes. She'd also been given a costume that could change her stats before, but it was a set of dead water and white silk. As an out-and-out man, Lin Chen would not wear it even if he was killed. Beat, die, all, no, where. Lin Chen opened the equipment in the box with joy. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the Spirit Phoenix armor set. Look at the name, how lofty. Lin Chen glanced at the inside of the backpack and was stunned. Isn't this JK? Her expressionless other clothes were brought out. The short skirt is short. And its blue checkered stripes, paired with long high black stockings and flat leather shoes. Lin Chen had actually made up in his mind how he would look when he wore this dress. After all, Lin Chen's current image is the result of her own 4 hours of work. Since Lin Chen crossed over to this NPC, she found that the appearance of this NPC was really getting better and better, as if it was beautiful. JK or something, in fact, it's better than dead reservoir water. Glanced at the properties. Lin Chen's eyes widened. Spirit Phoenix Battle Armor. Increases all body stats by 15%, armor plus 1600, and elemental resistance plus 100. Skills. Absolute Defense, instantly doubles self-defense for 5 minutes and 2 minutes of CD time. In other words, in essence, there is no CD time, and you can permanently give yourself multiple buffs. Lingfeng Short Skirt. Increases all body attributes by 15%, evasion plus 300, and resistance to the 5 elements plus 100. Skills. Blast, speed is everything, instantly increases your speed by 50%, lasts for 15 seconds, and CD time for 2 minutes. Co-authoring is an escape skill. If you are really surrounded and intercepted, it is not bad. As for the black silk and leather shoes, it is said that they are given as fashions, and they have no effect. Although there are only 2 pieces of this Spirit Phoenix set, it also activates the equipment bond. Lingfeng Equipment Bond. 2 halves, attack plus 500, spell attack plus 500. Awesome. Lin Chen could only give a thumbs up and admire, but he didn't read much, so he could only walk the world in 1 sentence. The forum has blown up. It's because Jiang Nan posted a post with his real name ID. This is a record of a failed quest. Gangnam rarely makes such posts, and as an old fox, he spends most of his time working on how to develop his own union. Most of the posts on the forums are used to recruit people. Either you can post a copy of the record of your clearance on the forum to recruit people. Or sometimes flirting with some female players. Is funny and humorous, but it has attracted a lot of fans. So not long after this post was posted, it exploded. First floor, I'm not mistaken, right? Jiang Nan actually came up to post, my idol. Second floor, yes, you read that right, Lord's Youth is back. 3F, I'm the only one who noticed that this is a very perverted dungeon, and this boss, why do you ask such a question? Fourth floor, I think this boss has won my heart, and the answer is deeply rooted in the hearts of the people, obviously, it should be like this. Fifth floor, this answer is absolutely amazing, Xiaolin, this is also the most beautiful place for me, I feel blushing when I think about it. Sixth floor, I said that the focus upstairs is a bit peculiar, shouldn't the focus of this video be that the boss is too perverted? Seventh floor, what is this? I think it's quite normal, it's a disaster, it's a bit special and normal. Eighth floor, to put it bluntly, it's hypocrisy, Jiang Nan is so old, it is estimated that he has not suffered any setbacks, if he suffers a little more setbacks, maybe he will not think so. There's a lot of chatter. And there's everything. At first, Jiang Nan looked at it happily. Later, the direction of the fishing vessel changed. There are those who say that Jiang Nan is hypocritical, and there are also those who say that he is here to touch porcelain. In the end, the official did not blow it up. A group of people were talking about it. If I'm not mistaken, Miss Xia Mo Yenyu and Miss Rose Ling Yue should both be hidden professions, so awesome. Ask for the contact information of Xia Mo Yenyu and Rose Cold Moon, our guild urgently needs such talents. Our Red Mansion is a game guild composed of girls, unlike the Sonorous Roses, we are all young soft girls here, Xia Mo Yenyu and Rose Cold Moon young ladies, we urgently need you to join us. Yes, in addition to scolding Jiang Nan, there are also olive branches stretched out towards Xia Mo Yenyu and Rose Cold Moon. However, at this time, Xia Mo Yenyu and Rose Cold Moon blocked the news on the forum. I don't know what's going on. After Jiang Nan uploaded the post, he took a few looks, and his face became more and more ugly. It's hard anyway. The little hand was cold and lowered his voice, looked at his boss and asked, "Boss, do you think there is any misunderstanding here? These people must not know you, so they will be like this." The boss is famous in the forum. He didn't understand what was going on, but he replied in passing. It's okay not to say that. As soon as he said this, Jiang Nan's face became more and more ugly. There are even a few skills that are misplaced in hand. As a result, the cold little hand failed to hold the hatred in time, and Jiang Nan's blood volume decreased a lot. Xia Mo Yenyu pulled the hatred back unhurriedly, turned his head to look at Jiang Nan, and said indifferently, "If you can't control your emotions, then forget about this matter." "How can you forget it?" Jiang Nan was startled, and then came back to his senses. "It was my mistake just now, but it won't be in the future, don't worry." A few people pushed the copy step by step, which was much easier than a disaster-level copy. The Spider Queen in the elite-level dungeon looks a lot more cute. Lin Chen here has already changed into a JK suit. Although he didn't like this set of black silk very much, Lin Chen still put it on. If you just wear shoes without wearing anything, it always feels weird. This outfit is very cute on her, and the only fly in the ointment is probably the flat horse on her chest. Tied two big pink bows on top of the ponytail to match the color of the skirt, and Lin Chen went out satisfied. At this time, her attributes have changed to: Name, Lin Chen. Class, NPC. Strength, 254, 30% bonus to equipment. Stamina, 257, 30% equip bonus. Intelligence, 302, 30% equipment bonus. Dexterity, 150, 30% gear bonus. This is a murderous Lori.